Welcome to Legendary Upside YouTube channel and podcast. My name is Pat Crane. You can follow my content at legendaryupside.com. With me today, Rich Hribar for our Angles and Upside podcast. Reeves, how's it going?
It's going good, man. We're one third of the way through the NFL season now. It's always fun when you say stuff like this. It still feels so new, right? It's like,
Totally.
oh, it just started. Like we're writing up these things, still small context of teams playing. There's been so much fluidity with like injuries on all sides of the ball, all aspects of
Dude,
offenses and defenses.
seriously.
It's just absolutely wild, man.
You know what it is for me, which we're getting this week sort of for the first time because Joe Flacco got traded and is playing the Packers again, is when the teams start playing each other for the second time.
Yeah.
Then you actually you go back like the last time these teams played this year. That's when I'm like, oh man, like we're deep in the season. We're
And we're
not
gonna have
quite
one of
there
those
yet,
because
but
Eagles Giants played last night, and then I think they play again not next week, but the week after.
okay.
So it's like one of those
Yeah,
they have a 1 week off versus each other and then play each other again.
totally. Yeah. And that's when we're going to start talking about we're halfway through basically.
Yeah.
In a
Do you
couple
remember
weeks.
when Rich's son scored 3 touchdowns on Thursday night? I remember.
So my wife has been, she's like, she kind of watches some of the games, and I've told her about Scataboo, like, because I forget what they were on. They're on prime time, or I don't know, maybe it was on the Sunday. But anyway, Scataboo was on TV, and I was telling her like, this dude's insane. He's a total maniac. I didn't mention that he was your son, but
Well, yeah, shooting. I don't care. What are you talking about?
I'm like, he's like very fun. Like this guy's like an extremely fun player, but also like totally nuts. He like refuses to go down ever, even if he should. And so then the Giants were on last night, and she like sat down and was watching the game with me, and we like done bedtime and everything. So with our daughter, so we're like, I'm behind, so I'm doing the catch up, no commercials element. So just like, which I honestly love. It's like just all the football, and so we're watching like a huge chunk of the game together, and she's just blown away by Scataboo. Like this guy, I'm like, I described it. The comp for her is, I think, like Paul Bunyan. Like this dude, like every time he touches the ball, he like scores a touchdown and does a backflip. It's just like a folk hero. She was really blown away by this guy. She's like, "Did you draft?" Because I was like, "Yeah, he's insane.
Yeah.
He's an insane person." She's like, "Did you draft a bunch?" Of course I did. The guy's a nut job.
Yeah. He's
gonna,
literally the football manifestation of like a 6-year-old kid, like you just like gave like a Mountain Dew to.
yeah.
Like
Like that's gonna lead to fantasy points. We want that.
did you see his first touchdown when he didn't even need to run at the defender, and it was like he saw one defender at the goal
Yeah.
line and he was like, I'm gonna run into him. So I was like, I'll run into that guy.
Yeah, it's the point. Yeah. I'm not sure how long the career will be, but man, he's fun.
He's literally every Buffalo Bills fan that gets thrown through a table like before pregame, but like just that plays football.
Greg Rosenthal described him, and this honestly, like I have more Cam Scataboo because of this comment, but Rosenthal said if Brian Daboll went back in time and became a running back, he would be Cam Scataboo. So I'm like, okay, so Dayball's playing for himself. That sounds good.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get on the field.
And also Scataboo last night, if our futures and we already hit our first season-long cash for prop for
Wow.
future. We had
Wow.
Cam Scataboo rushing touchdowns over. It was 3.5 when we gave it out the subs, and it's already
That's
cashed.
amazing. That's
So we already have a season-long future already hit.
Love it. 3.5. Little light considering he scored 3 last night.
Yep.
All right, let's dive into this week's slate. A little bit of a lighter slate because we got a London game, we got Monday Night Football doubleheader, and we got some buys. So kicking this off, I wanted to start with the Seahawks at Jaguars, which this game, when I was writing up the walkthrough, I was like, I'm always got my eye on, what might be like the cover boy game. I always have you try to make it from the 1 o'clock slate, and title of the post, cover boy comes from that game. And obviously, the Cowboys Panthers, which we'll get to, jumped out. The Ravens Rams. The Rams have a huge implied point total. That one jumped out. But the Seahawks and Jaguars ultimately is what I settled on, with JSN as the cover boy. But in part because I like the Jaguars side of this, where we have maybe a little bit more under the radar injury cluster happening here,
Right.
compared to in Baltimore, where in Baltimore, everyone's we've been living with this for a couple weeks. We're all aware. But in Seattle, they have Devin Witherspoon, dealing with a knee injury, back-to-back DNP. He's good. Losing him would hurt. Julian Love, their safety, has a hamstring injury, back-to-back DNP. He's been solid. Reek Woolen he has a concussion,
He's
2
in
limited
protocol, yeah.
practices. Yeah, it sounds like Michael Sean Dugar said he was working through the protocol quickly, so like he actually might play and not miss a game with a concussion, but he's not like he's like the least impactful of these 3 players,
Right.
and it seems like the most likely to play. So that's obviously like if they're down 3 starting players in the secondary, that's pretty big for the Jaguars. And then the Jaguars have a pretty good offensive line. They're second in preventing pressure, first in preventing quick pressure, and the Seahawks are kind of becoming one of these defenses where they have a good pass rush, but they're actually kind of vulnerable on the back end if they've got all these injuries. So the Jaguars showed a little life last week in the passing game. Brian Thomas came to life a little bit. I like Brian Thomas this week. I think I'm a bit above consensus on Brian Thomas. I think this could be like a true spike week spot for him. Travis Hunter's obviously a little bit harder to pin down, given we don't know how many routes he's going to run, but he's been at 70% plus 2 weeks, so he's like at least mildly interesting. Brenton Strange is out, might consolidate targets, and that opens up Hunter Long as a DFS punt play, which I have some interest in. But then on the Seahawks side, JSN is just like as locked in as it gets as the number 1 target. He's now up to wide receiver 1 in yards per route run at 4.14. Just insane stuff. And while I think the Seahawks want to attack on the ground, like that's very, very clearly their identity. This is one of those games where I could see both teams kind of pushing each other and the Seahawks being forced to air it out more than they would like to. And it's the second highest game total of the week. Both teams have pretty high implied team totals. Sam Darnold's been super, super efficient this year. JSN's volume is super locked in. And so it's sort of JSN's such a nice play this week because you get the floor and then the upside of the game environment kind of comes along with that. So my favorite stuff this week, I think, is going to be stacks of this game where JSN he's like going to hit no matter what it feels like. And then if the game does what I'm hoping it will, he could just be a nuclear smash.
Yeah, because all the everyone's dropped all the fancy efficiency stats or JSN and the usage, but when it really manifests into fantasy points is when Seattle actually has to throw the football, like last week,
right?
And you get them to 30 plus dropbacks, and then you're like, oh yeah, this is where all the high yards per hour. This is where like it really starts to cook, because he's wide receiver 70 in routes run. But because they just haven't had a throw. But last week, 30. This is a game they're road dogs. So we're expecting them to have to push 2 competent teams. And then you factor in some of their cluster injuries on defense. We expect a competitive game and Darnold to have to throw. I really like the Seattle passing side of this in this particular matchup because of the play action pass. Darnold is obviously one of these guys, high play action pass, leads the NFL in yards per pass attempt, yards per completion against play action pass. JSN on play action passes this year, 7.2 yards per out run.
Oh my God.
Seems pretty good. He leads the NFL in receiving yards on play action passes. Why that's relevant here, Jacksonville Jaguars, one of the most susceptible defenses on non-play action passes. The Jaguars are 8th in the NFL in yards per pass attempt, 6.1, 4th in completion rate allowed, 59.1%. But against play action passes, they go to 22nd in completion rate, 72.1%, and 20th in yards allowed per pass attempt, 8.3 yards per pass attempt. We also have like this weird musical chairs thing where Tyson Campbell was traded for Greg Newsome. He's got 4 days to kind of come and play. They could just be like, hey, go guard JSN, whatever. But we would love to have JSN just in one-on-one matchups too. So if that would be the plan of attack, we would be absolutely like giddy over that outcome too. So I'm with you. I think my favorite way to play this is Darnold, JSN, and Brian Thomas, because we should get we hope there's a couple more targets with the Brenton strain injury that go to Thomas. And then the injuries, obviously if we don't have Witherspoon or Reek Woolen, even if Reek Woolen is up, I mean, these defenders that are down are
it's Witherspoon who probably matters the most.
He's And Seattle still played the run really well last week, and the Jaguars might be pushed to kind of not be able to lean on the run as much as they want to either. So it should push some more passing volume. I like it. It's hard for me to still get the Travis Hunter, even though I think this still probably helps him because Seattle plays so much 12 personnel. They're 31st in the league in use of 11 personnel. So maybe he doesn't have to play much defense, but his usage as a receiver is what I have the biggest issue with. It's not necessarily the snaps he's playing; it's the actual deployment is just like not fun.
Right.
It's like it's not exciting. He gets like a couple downfield shots a game or like some near the line of scrimmage stuff. It's like no nuance.
Yeah, I've been kind of confused by it because they're like, if we have an injury, like he just does he's the F, he's the slot, and that's just the way it is, and we're not like gonna get more creative than that. And maybe from like a long-term perspective, that's good. Like they just have him master this position, and then next year, like they put more on his plate and they put more on his plate on defense, and maybe they have like some kind of ramp up progression. I don't know, but it kind of seems dumb to me. Like I could be wrong, maybe there's a bigger picture here, but it's like, hey, why don't you just like use this guy in creative ways? He's a
Yeah.
superstar. Like I don't know. That seems better to me. But yeah, maybe I'm being impatient. But yeah, it's frustrating with the Travis Hunter stuff for sure. Darnold to JSN Thomas is like that's definitely the cleanest way to go. I do think the Trevor Lawrence stuff is in play though, and when I like go to do like in projections and stuff, what I'll probably end up changing the most is the Jaguars passing game because I think they're actually the unit that's kind of in the spot where I'm kind of like excited about what the game environment will do for them, and I trust them to like target it. Where I think
Right.
Seattle needs to be pushed.
Yes.
They want to run the ball, but Seattle has a really good run defense, and they've got multiple injuries on the back end. And the Jaguars have had a lean to the pass this year. They've got a 2% pass rate over expected. They're not like super pass heavy team, but even though they've run the ball well, they are kind of like the Rams or like the Vikings or like like one of those kind of coaching tree teams. Like those teams tend to have like at least a little bit of a lean to the pass. Even though you're probably what you'd call like a balanced team fundamentally, but this is like a team that's not gonna like ideologically commit to the run even when they're in a really good passing matchup.
Right.
That's where I
I
do
think we
think
just
that the
trust
Seahawks
Liam
are kind of
Cohen
like
to
that.
make optimal moves.
I trust Liam Cohen to make optimal moves, yeah, and to be adaptable to the environment
Yeah.
a little bit. So my excitement for this game is really more built on the Jaguars side, and so I think in DFS and stuff, I do want Jaguars pieces, even if I'm playing. It's a bring back spot for me on Seattle
Well,
stuff,
yeah,
but
if this game hits, it has to hit through the Jaguar side.
right,
Yeah.
which maybe the move then is I'm still thinking through this, but I'm kind of like maybe the move is Trevor Lawrence, Brian Thomas, Hunter Long, and then you bring back JSN because JSN's just he's the whole offense kind of like through him. So
Mhm.
it's really maybe more Lawrence
Yeah.
stacks with JSN bringbacks, but I have interest in this game in a few different ways. Though I mean the other way to play this would be through the running backs, but um,
It's hard
it's hard.
because
Seattle won't stop playing Zach Charbonnet.
no. Yeah. I mean, it's Kenneth Walker literally if he doesn't score from 20 yards out, he ain't scoring.
Over. Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
out touched in the games that they played together. He's been out touched 7-3 inside the 10-yard line by Charbonnet, 4-0 inside the 5-yard line. Yeah, it's just all the stuff. Charbonnet has a run of 10 or more yards on 2% of his runs. Just kind of the stuck in that early down short yardage pass protection role. And then Walker's getting all the efficiency stuff, but it's all the stuff that matters least for fantasy football because Darnold is only ahead of Cam Ward in target rate to running backs. So you're not even getting catches either on any of these guys. It's the worst.
Do you think if they ban the tush push, the Eagles will just trade for Zach Charbonnet so they can get a yard at a time with him?
No, let us run that dumbass flip play to Goddard now. Like it's like this is the new tush push. It's like, oh, we're not on the one. Well, we better run the Goddard play. Like
The Goddard play was like he just stops for a second and then he ran. It was weird. It's like he had to like charge up. Like
it's so weird because he like got Hurts like throws it underhand forward.
yeah,
It's like not
yeah,
a shovel pass necessarily. It's like I'm just gonna underhand scoop this to you.
yeah. It's like he's playing the cornhole.
Yeah.
It's like that's that form.
But that play is that's the next broken play. There's a couple plays you see, like the Rams ran on Thursday night that played a Puka, and it's like, why don't they do that every time?
Right.
Why do they run that all the time?
Anything else from this game jump out?
No, not particularly in terms of like just like from like an upside stance. I think from a regular season managed stance, it's like ho hum about all the other guys. Like your ETN still has a grip on the backfield. We wish he didn't, but he does.
Yeah.
Not a necessarily great match. We did see though on Monday when he finally doesn't ride the touchdown rails, the floor that exists.
Mm-hmm.
So like his actual usage in terms of the running back position is not great. It's just that he was scoring touchdowns.
He's running back 25 in expected points per game per PFF.
He still is volatile. He's very much like DeAndre Swift with touchdowns. It's like kind of like what he's doing.
Honestly, like a worse receiving role.
Oh yeah, yes. And that's where you would want to target Seattle because receiving backs have kind of beat them up this year, but they're not really using those guys in that capacity.
Yeah. That's interesting. Rams at Ravens. This, kind of a one-sided game here, but the one side could be fun. I will note the weather could be an issue. Looking at Kevin Roth's breakdown, Roto Grinders, he kind of early in the week he had this as like, not such a big deal. But today I checked and it's winds around 15 with gusts over 25, occasionally pushing to 30. It's going to be like a light but steady rain that eventually is soaking, and wind and rain combo he has as a bump down to the passing attack. So it looks like it's gotten to the point where like maybe we need to factor in the weather. Obviously it's Friday, so need to kind of keep an eye on this heading into kickoff. But something to note, the Rams side of this, they have an implied team total of 26. So they're expected to put up points here, even though, the overall game environment isn't great. What jumps out to you on the Rams side?
Yeah, and I was already ready to kind of come into this weekend to play this through kind of the Rams run game. And I feel like now it's going to get pushed there for a couple reasons. Well, one, like obviously, you play Stafford in this matchup. The Ravens are going to get a couple guys back. Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey look like they're tracking to play. It's not that you're scared of those guys. But Stafford's like 2 spike weeks for fantasy football have come in games where like the Rams have been pushed. And I just don't know if we get that here with the state of the Baltimore offense. And then the Rams have some real big signals into the way their run game operates versus the Ravens. I had a stat in the worksheet that like I had to go back and I thought it was wrong. It was so egregious. Like sometimes you probably stumble across these too, and you're like, "Well, did I set a filter wrong? Like, did I do something wrong? Like this."
It's horrifying because you're like, I'm like 6 games into this, so like if this is wrong, I've got some rework.
Yeah, I got to go back to something else. I had a filter wrong, but so the Rams obviously their run game scheme is man gap runs. Like Kyron Williams, 46% of his runs this year are man gap runs, his 3rd highest rate in the league. The Ravens against those runs, the running back runs, are allowing 8 yards per carry to running backs, which is like a pass attempt. Like they're allowing a passing play on these. And like I was on a show, I had the stat with Andrew Cooper. And he's like, "That's what we did in high school." He's like, "This is like high school like concepts, like man gap runs." Like it's like they're like, but they've allowed 4 rushing touchdowns on those runs too, and like the sample is like over 40 running back rush attempts too. So it's like it's crazy. So it's like, man, I already wanted to play this through kind of Kyron Williams as like an upside here, and then some player prop stuff probably with Quorum, but yeah, and because they're not getting Matabuke back and they're not getting Roquan back, so it's like. Man, it looks like
Buke's done for the year.
And he's not coming back at all.
Yeah. He might not play again. So yeah, and that's a big loss for them.
So I was already excited about Kyron, and then granted, like you can always play just know as a caveat, you can always play Puka. You can always do the stuff with Devontae Adams as a touchdown target. But I was actually more excited to get through the Kyron stuff.
What about Adams? Because the one thing I noticed with him, he's been better against man than zone. 2.38 yards per route run, 33% targets per route run compared to 1.91 against zone and 22% targets per route run. And the Ravens have been playing man at a high rate all year and over the last couple of weeks with the injuries. So I was curious, like, are they mixing it up? Not really.
Because they're trying to manufacture a pass rush.
Right.
And also
it's not working. It's not working. And one of my reads with the Rams is that this is like something for the last few years. When the Rams are going up against a team without a pass rush, that's when I think they're more likely to lean on Stafford. And when they don't have the ability to protect him, because their line has been pretty bad for like 2 or 3 years now. And they're allowing quick pressure. They're just 26th in preventing quick pressure this year. But the Ravens like seriously cannot get to the passer. And it's getting worse. So I think the Stafford should have time to throw, and he's been awesome this year when he's actually thrown the ball. It's like one of these things where you see like his EPA versus like his PFF passing grade, which is kind of a throw grade, and that's like through the roof. But his EPA has like been okay. It's like, yeah, you got to get him to the point where he's actually throwing the ball, and then everything's awesome. But that's not always the easiest thing when they're in tougher matchups. When they're going against the Texans or whatever, they're going against the Eagles. Like that's when he struggled more. But he's been very efficient when he's had time to throw. He should have plenty of time to throw here. And with Adams doing well against man coverage, he kind of jumped out a little bit to me. Puka also crushes man coverage, but he also crushes zone. So it's like
he just
crushes.
He just crushes.
Yeah. So like, yeah, Puka's great. He's gonna have a great game. But Adams, I think this is like matchup specific could help him. You do have the caveat of like they might not need it. They might just like who scores the first couple touchdowns is going to be huge here because
but the Texans didn't take their foot out. They kept scoring. So
and they had that heartbreaking, brutal loss that McVay's putting on him. Is he goes for it, they lose. Like, yeah. Well, I mean, like I wonder if they kind of come in here and this is like let's not fuck around. Let's put some points up.
Yeah, I'm just worried about like I said, the Raven side of the helping out the equation.
100%.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I think if it's all Rams, it's kind of like a smoke 'em if you got him core Rams spot, like pretty easy.
Anything on the Ravens side?
I mean, Zay, if like the weather holds up, I still think is like we still seen him have the big play. Like he's a legit good football player, and since the Rams have had Akella Witherspoon out, like I mean, they've been giving up big games. I mean, AJ Brown, Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Smith, Michael Pittman, a touchdown. Adam Mitchell should have had 100 yards and a touchdown. But so
should we go back in the stats and like add that in to like reflect what the Rams actually are?
And it's a bummer because of what happened last week. Like, and it's like why people took the DeMercado stuff with Gannon to heart. Like, apparently, like Adonai Mitchell was like legit depressed. That's why he didn't play as much last week. Like, it wasn't a punishment. Like, supposedly, like he was like legit like I cost because he had that holding penalty that play.
Well, he literally did cost them a game.
Yeah, and like supposedly he was like legitimately like throughout the week like depressed, like wasn't like himself, and like they talk about like not playing him as much. It wasn't necessarily a punishment, like he wasn't with it. Like
wow, okay.
Like so it's like and it's granted we all like sit behind our keyboards and do this shit, and it's like we like these are human beings, and like on a grand stage, we're like as a dude, he finally gets a shot to play this year because he's a backup, makes it, and the play was so stupidly good until the end.
I know, yeah, that's the thing. Like compared to the DeMercado play,
it was the most Adonai Mitchell play ever. Like
yeah. He did everything on that play that AD Mitchell does. I know, and it's like, yeah, we were.
When everyone's like, cut this guy, like to all these guys, it's like, dude, imagine me. Like last week, I told people that I wasn't playing Rico Dowdle. That like people should tell him to cut me, man. Like people should be like, cut Hribar, man. Look at that. That's the equivalent of dropping the ball at the goal line, not playing the 4K running back that has 35 goddamn points. Like,
yeah. But the difference is we didn't see you set your DFS lineup where you had this perfect salary left over for Rico, and then
what's funny is I did though because I was like on Jamar Chase last week, and like I had like I bricked DFS last week with great scores because I just didn't play Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, I was lukewarm on Rico, but I ended up playing him in a good lineup. So
I wish I were reluctantly doing it.
I've reluctantly played the absolute smash of the week at running back.
Turns out when the 4K running back gets 35 points, it's hard to win even if you have good lineups.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's just not that much on the Ravens side.
Let me pitch to you one idea because Ray pitched it to me and I didn't have a great answer for it. Season long take, which we try to mix in a couple of these sometimes.
Yeah.
Is Derrick Henry, if you're looking at a team that's 1-4 or 2-3 and they have Derrick Henry, who also has a bye next week, are you trying to get him off that roster?
Yeah, but it's got to be cheap.
Okay.
I
Just
want.
wanted to throw it out there.
I'm not paying like for Derrick Henry. Like, so to give you a
Yeah, the
sense of
price of the brick has gone down.
it going down. Yeah, I was like hard fading Derrick Henry at the 1-2 turn. Early second round. Like I was just not interested. I have him like in my pros versus Joe's teams. I got him in like the mid second. So I wasn't like completely opposed to mixing him in, but I did not think he should be going where he was going. So I would want like a fifth round, redraft price or something. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Well, I'm
probably
not even going to throw
annoying
out
you with
names
my
because
offer if
I'm not even going to throw out names because I
you're in my
think if
league.
you're trying to get Derrick Henry from a roster in that circumstances, you just have to see what they need. You just to see
What
what their
they need,
holes
yeah.
are. So
Totally.
that's the way. I'm not going to like throw out like, hey, you should offer this guy. If you just go if the Derrick Henry gamer is bad, which most of them probably are. Like most of them probably are hurting, or at least are around 500, 2 and 3 ish.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to play him this week probably, and he's
How
on bye
about
next week.
you take a receiver that's like solid, non-insulting receiver, Derrick Henry, but like not someone that would definitely get the deal done. And then you add like a Rico Dowdle,
Yeah. The running back
you
they
know?
need. Yeah, those guys you talked about, the ETN of Swift. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a
Oh,
friend.
that
Yeah.
I mean, if you could do it for like a Swift, oh my god, yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds great.
probably not, but ETN. But those gamers are desperate for wins, though. Like when you're
Right.
desperate for wins, because they might say, "Oh, by the time Henry comes back and with Lamar in week 8, I might be 1-7, and who gives a shit?" Like,
Yeah.
like
Although I've always been surprised at how fantasy players, like at least the ones in my leagues, aren't thinking like that usually. It's like, no, that's an unfair trade. I'm like, yeah, it is. But I'm
yes,
offering it
of
to you
course
because
it
you have
is.
to win
That's
this
why
week
I'm
or your
offering
season's
it.
over. I'm preying on you. Don't you
Right.
see?
Yeah, yeah.
That
Do you
they
not
don't want to be
understand
preyed
what's
on.
happening? It's okay. It's and I'm operating with transparency. I need you to know that
Yeah,
too. It's
you
fine.
have to win this week. So here's a piece. But they don't care. They're like, no,
Yeah.
dude, this is a jerky
The
trade, and
gamers
I
will
won't
be
give you
stubborn
the
in that
guy you
way
want.
instead of just
Yeah.
buy like an extra life.
Yes. Yeah. Which is because no one wants to do that, right? No one wants to be like, yeah, I'm doing this lopsided trade in someone else's favor so that I can survive for one more week until I die. Next week anyway.
Yep.
Cowboys at Panthers. This was the game when as I was talking about, I kind of like was like, yeah, it probably, is this going to be like T Mac or who's, someone's going to jump out from this game where I'm super excited. If I was over at ETR, maybe Jonte Williams would be the cover boy. They've been all over him. He's been a smash. But not a guy I was excited about this year. But honestly, like came away from this game, and that's kind of the guy I'm like, yeah, Javonte,
Yep.
man. It's like if it's anybody, it's probably Javonte here. And like Jake Ferguson's in a fine spot, and obviously George Pickens could have a big game here. But the reason that I'm not that excited about the game environment from like game of the week type of game, type of perspective, like it doesn't jump out to me that way, is because of the Panthers
Mm-hmm.
and how run heavy they've been over the last couple weeks. They had a -7% pass rate expected against New England, -20% on first down. And then they went -10% against the Dolphins, -29% on first down. They had expected pass rates of 66 and 67% over the last 2 weeks, which is pretty high. League average is like 62%. But they've had pass rates of 59 and 57%. When Rico Dowdle's like ripping off long runs, we don't really care so much about this. It doesn't hurt the game, but they were bad against the Patriots, and
Mm-hmm.
Rico Dowdle's not exactly like a great bet to be a breakaway runner week in, week out. Cowboys run defense, not very good. So maybe they're efficient, but also gives them more reason to just attack on the ground. And I think the Panthers could end up kind of sucking some of the energy out of this game in a way like the Jets would have liked to even more last year or
Last
last
week.
week. They're kind of Jetsy, basically. I think the Panthers are more Jetsy than I wish they were, and that makes T Mac maybe a little bit more kind of Garrett Wilson-y than someone where it's like, hey, this game environment, here's where we get like the mega explosive, like this is his like coming out party, and we finally get him with a spike week. He's been so good this year, but now we get like the fantasy like true mega breakout. It could happen. Ultimately, I kind of felt like maybe it's just more of like a pretty good setup where we get volume, and it comes down to whether or not he gets in the end zone as opposed to like this huge spike week setup.
Yeah, I'm with you on this game as well. I think the Cowboys are your core Cowboys are all fine. You're excited about
Totally.
still the Cowboys. Jairo Vero is one of these guys that just does his thing. Like that's why we love him. Like he's one of those defensive coordinators that doesn't adjust for opponent. He's like, this is what we do. Doesn't really work, but he's like, I'm gonna keep doing this. Like,
why is it what you do though?
I actually was surprised because I thought like last year Canales, like someone would have had to like fall on the sword, like because Canales was a first year head coach. So it's like, hey, dude, like this didn't work out. Like the defensive coordinator, which was a historically bad defense, like wasn't even canned. And like I said, I don't want any of these guys to be fired, but I was like, I just thought like Vero is going to be the fall guy for the year one.
It's that young stretch at the end got everyone back in. People were
And
excited.
like that was such a mislead too, but they just sit back, they run all this cover 3, they sit back there. Dak Prescott to open the year is complete. He's the highest completion rate against cover 3. He's thrown the most touchdown passes against cover 3 to open the year, 3rd in quarterback rating. Jake Ferguson's been targeted on 31% of his routes against cover 3. Carolina's also been bad against tight ends, which is like a multi-year sample and another strike against Severo because that's what he does. He just lets tight ends beat them in the same structural format. So I think all those core guys are fine. I would be hesitant to chase Flournoy based on a couple things. Well, one, it was because I've been writing up too. Like you always want to target these wide receiver 2s against the Jets because the way they're playing defense, they're just having Sauce shadow these wide receiver 1s, but their cornerback 2s aren't good. Like Brandon Stevens isn't very good, and it's pushing these targets to these wide receiver 2s. And Pickens isn't going to have 4 targets every week. So
right.
I would expect him not to have 4 targets here. So I think it's tough to chase the Flournoy stuff. Looks like Turpin will be out. So, but like if you're that in on Dak, it's fine. But my biggest problem I have for this game is, like you said, the Panther side. And a lot of people will say, well, the Cowboys are giving up all these points to quarterbacks, but the Cowboys against Matt Eberflus plays all this zone coverage where he tries to take away like first reads, and they just and the quarterbacks that have had issues with that have all been bad against the Cowboys, though. Jalen Hurts in week 1 was bad as a passer in that game. Justin Fields was terrible as a passer until that 4th quarter on Sunday. And Bryce Young is in the same archetype. Against zone coverages, he is the second to worst quarterback rating in the NFL. He's 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions. He's averaging 5.4 yards per pass attempt ahead of only Joe Flacco against zone coverage. It's like, man, like I have a hard time like believing in Bryce Young in this spot. And that's all bled over into Tet McMillan splits too. Tet McMillan's been targeted on 38% of his routes against man coverage compared to 21.5% against zone coverage. Yeah, is it because
I had the same note that he's been the thing is that the Cowboys defense is bad. So like, and Ted McMillan is good. So I'm kind of part of me is like,
we're just betting on talent. Yeah.
Just betting on talent, betting. And it's like, it's a really easy matchup, and we're not that far into his career. And so maybe he's actually awesome against zone, but just hasn't popped off yet. But
because the quarterback is bad.
And the quarterback's bad. That's not helping.
We're not getting any truths revealed. I think we have a semi thing. It's like, it's not quite the direct overlap of what happened to Marv last year with Kyler, but there is a clear disconnect of where Tet wins and like the issues Bryce Young has as a passer.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Bryce Young. So the thing with the first read stuff, like he has a 66% rate of attempting a first read throw per dropback, which is very high. That's one of the highest in the league. So he's like attempting to get the ball out to his first read, and that's Tedero McMillan at a high rate. So that's nice. If they're going to try to take that away, now the Cowboys have been actually pretty weak in terms of EPA per first read. So if you get the ball out on your first read, you've been able to have success against the Cowboys. But point taken about how they've actually stifled some of these quarterbacks that play that way. So yeah, it's sort of like, it's a matchup where it's like, hey, young, very talented wide receiver who's flashing, gets super soft pass matchup, and then probably gets pushed by the opposing offense. Awesome. But then you dig into some of the more specifics, and yeah, they play this nonstop zone. He hasn't been so great about that against that. Bryce Young has really struggled against that. I do think Bryce Young is bad. I don't think he's like horrible, but I think he's a bad quarterback. And
yeah, because last year last year when he was doing stuff at the end of the year, he was running. Like his passing metrics were still well below. They were better for him, but below league rate. And he was just running around, and he's not running at all right now. So he's been like kind of unusable for fantasy football because he's not running and he's not good as a passer.
It's one of those things where you like need. I would compare him maybe to like a Gardner Minshew or something, where it's
Yes.
like it's not a disaster, you know, but you need the volume. Like if you're just gonna like play a run heavy style of offense and like have Bryce Young like mix in a passing element, like it's just not gonna be that fun for fantasy. What we need is them trailing, embracing trailing game script, and just dropping back and throwing constantly. And in that sort of setup against this defense, that could be awesome. But that's where I'm like, when a team has a minus 29% expected pass rate on first down, like they are very clearly signaling that that is not what they want to do, that they don't want that to happen to them, that they're trying to like prevent that from happening and end up passing somewhere in the 50% range. They had an 80% pass rate against the Cardinals in week 2. Like, and they were chasing. If you give me that version of the
Yeah.
Panthers again, I think they hit. And I should say like that could happen. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But some of my nervousness around this game is that like we get them trying to be the Jets, where they're just like, hey, we're gonna run the ball, we're gonna control the clock, we're gonna play slow, which they play slow. They're at 32 and a half seconds per situation neutral play, which is pretty slow. So there, we know what you're going to try to do to us, make us one dimensional, make us pass nonstop, and put the game on Bryce Young, and not even really the game because we're probably already going to lose and we know it, but we'll make it look more competitive than it was. We don't want that. We want to like shorten the game and make this like a one score game where we score 20 points and win. Like I think that's where the Panthers would like to be. It's just not very fun.
Yeah, because even if you want to talk about like the man zone stuff, 2 weeks ago we were in a spot where they played a man coverage every team, the Patriots, and they were still dead. Like it was,
That's true.
it's like it's context offense. Also, we got to figure out why they're not using their 6'4" wide receiver in the red zone. Like, this team has thrown 27 red zone passes, and 5 have gone to Tet McMillan. They have 11 end
He's
zone
Drake
targets.
Londoning.
Yeah, 11
Yeah.
end zone targets, 2 to him. Like, come on,
Yeah.
give it this. Just throw him a jump ball. Who gives a shit? Like,
I know.
I'm anti fade, but now I'm pro fade.
Well, Bryce Young jump balls are when he has to jump because he can't see over the line.
I will say, from a DFS large field perspective, I think you kind of have to dabble with one Panthers passing stack just because Dowdle's going to be so projected. He's projecting to
For
be so
sure.
highly owned, and you just
Yeah.
hold your nose and do it, even as down as we said we are on like the outcome. Because in that outcome, the outcomes where it's bad, we already are covered. Like it's just the one where it's good. We want to have at least a little piece.
Yeah, and I would say that if it ends up being contrarian to play this game through, like some of my attitude about this game is like relative to my own expectations heading into it. But if everyone else like really feels similarly, like we're like, yeah, this game's okay, but you play it through the running backs, you don't play it through the passing game. I could play it through the passing game. I could also play it through the passing game on the Dallas side.
Mm-hmm.
Like George Pickens, if he gets kind of left out this week, and Ferguson, like Dak doubles are pretty easy and are going to be leverage off of Javonte Williams, who's a pretty damn good play here. I think he's only 6,400. He projects really well. Like he's been super efficient. He the thing with the Panthers, they were like this huge run funnel last year, and they haven't been at nearly as bad against the run this year. 14th in DVOA, 20th in EPA, actually third best in success rate against the run. But you can still run on them,
Yeah.
and the Cowboys are one of these teams that's kind of
Well,
played to the
also all those
script in front
metrics
of them.
don't matter if volume's happening.
Exactly. Yeah. Both volume from like I think there'll be a decent volume floor here because the Cowboys, they've kind of played to their scripts,
Mm-hmm.
and this should be a positive script for them. So their pass rate will probably be pretty close to the expected pass rate, and their expected pass rate will probably be fairly low. So there should be plenty of opportunity to run the ball. And then Williams has 63% of the carries this year, running back 10, 73% of the snaps, running back 10. He's running back 9 in route participation. He's not going to be targeted a ton, 9% target share, but he's out there. He's running back 5 in expected points per game this year. He's been very efficient. He's running back 4 in PPR points per game at 21.1. Like
he
been really
literally
good.
became Clayton Adams' new James Conner. Like it's
Yeah.
That's literally new James Conner. Like
yeah.
It's just like running that back. But I actually curious to see when we get to the weekend, what he looks like in projected ownership, because we haven't talked about this yet. The one thing that's unique is we finally have our first, I'm calling it the first real DFS week of the season. We finally don't have like all the soft pricing. Everyone for the first 5 weeks is just done CMC Puka or Jonathan Taylor, get two of those guys in. You can't do that this week. It's a lot harder. The pricing has gone up. It's a lot tighter this week. So that mid-range running back spot is going to be really interesting to play, because I still think a lot of gamers want that comfort of either clicking Taylor or CMC first. And Taylor's really expensive. He's over 10K on FanDuel now as well, which is where the site you really want to play him at, even though he's catching more passes. But so I'm really curious to see if like some of that pocket gets overlooked. I don't necessarily think you even have to force any of those guys this week, although they're all good plays. You know, I'm not going to poo-poo any of those guys as good plays. Great. But what if the optimal way to build this week is actually JSN as wide receiver 1, and then like 2 of those running backs, like a Josh Jacobs, a JT, a Kyron Williams, a Javonte Williams, like, and that's like the proper way to go around this build, instead of saying, hey, I have to have CMC because I've had him every week. But you know, or Jonathan Taylor.
I'd throw out Rashad White and Rico, who are 6,000 for.
Well, Rico's going to be popular regardless.
Yeah, he'll be popular regardless. Yeah, but he's not. He's not like a punt. You know, he's close to 6,000. Like he's kind of mid range.
But he's still the cheapest of the playable running backs. And on this particular slate where it's tighter, that's going to push his ownership up, because people still want to click on CMC, Puka Nacua, or Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, and I think Rico, it's crazy how things shift so quickly, but like Rico is a lot more comfortable, I think, than like a Jalen Warren at 5,400 or Michael Carter at 5,300. Like you can go cheaper and it's not crazy, but it's not comfortable.
No.
And yeah, so Rico will be, and Rico's a good play.
I think he's a good play.
You know, some of my concern about this game not being as fun as it could be is that the Panthers lean on Rico Dowdle. And so, you know, that's good for Rico Dowdle. It's good if they're in neutral situations where the defense doesn't know what's coming and they hand the ball off to Rico Dowdle. That's good for Rico Dowdle. So I think he's obviously super chalky, not going overlooked whatsoever, but he's good chalk, I think. Good price, good matchup, and I think the team wants him to be heavily involved. All right, Chargers at Dolphins. Justin Herbert over the last 2 weeks, I pulled up like the EPA chart that I use, and here I'll share the screen on this one. I was like, what if the first 2 weeks of the season were weeks 4 and 5? Because this is what it would look like. Justin Herbert is down here with Cam Ward, Caleb Williams. You know, we would be like blown away by the weeks that are coming in this scrambled future, where we get weeks 1 and 2, you know, in a couple weeks. But we have, I think, in our heads, at least a little bit still, the idea of Herbert from weeks 1 and 2 when he was amazing. And it's like, he's been really bad over the last couple weeks, in part because their offensive line is just so banged up. But Joe Alt's going to be out this week. Pipkins looks like he's going to be out, the other tackle. So, and, you know, of course, he wasn't supposed to start because Slater got hurt. So, so we have, you know, we're down to like tackles 4 and 5 now for the Chargers. So it's pretty bad. And you do get the Dolphins, who are a bad defense, not a great pass rush, but the Dolphins are a big run funnel. 56% pass rate against the Dolphins. The Jets have the highest pass rate against the Dolphins this year at 65%, because that's how bad the Jets are. They were just in negative game script, but they had a minus 11% pass rate of expected against the Dolphins. So they didn't want to throw on the Dolphins. They just had to. Dolphins have a minus 4% pass rate of expected against. Teams are shifting in PROE 3% toward the run compared to their typical rate. Dolphins are 29th in rushing DVOA, 29th in rushing EPA, and 27th in success rate. So you can run on this team. I know, obviously, that they won't have Hampton, and Hassan Haskins is like your engine of the offense. Doesn't necessarily make a ton of sense. Neither does Kamani Badal. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to want to put this on Herbert's shoulders in a huge way unless the Dolphins force them to, because they can't protect him. And he's played very poorly. And okay, let's look at last week. What happened last week? Well, they had a 27-10 loss.
Yep.
Okay. So a spot where you would expect them to be
And they're
pass
up
heavy.
10-0.
Not great. Minus 6% PROE in that game, with a minus 19% on first down. So they end up passing around league average, but they had this is a spot where 3 weeks ago we'd be talking about them maybe having like an 80% pass rate, and they had a 63% pass rate. So they fought the game script in a big way instead of embracing it. Worried that we could see something similar this week, even without Hampton.
Yeah, I mean, we just saw the Panthers with their backup linemen and a backup running back run all over the Dolphins. It won't be to that degree. Neither one of these Chargers guys is getting 200 yards. I feel confidently in saying that. Although, again,
Careful, Rick.
last week.
Next week you're gonna get cut.
Yep. No, I mean, they tried last week. I mean, in neutral script, they tried to just be boring and vanilla to try to get through, and it didn't work. They couldn't score any points after those opening 2 drives. Dolphins too, because they blitz a lot and they weren't getting pressure. They actually over the past 3 weeks are 5th in pressure rates. They have been getting home a little bit more, and they can't slow down the run. So it's one of these weird spots because it's just a volatile situation. Because they're not a good defense top down either. So it's like we'd want to exploit that too. But are the Chargers just in the most Chargers-esque fashion? Do they just have enough bodies to facilitate them, being able to move the ball with their best players, Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey, and Keenan Allen? It's just a really tough spot to kind of guesswork that, or really kind of glom onto these guys for any spike week production. I mean, Herbert hasn't been a QB1 since week 1. So you're just hoping that you in your Q2B leagues, it's enough floor here, he's just solid enough because you haven't gotten it the past 2 weeks against the Giants and Commanders, right? It's just really tough to really kind of, like I said, expect the ceiling outcome for these guys. They just had so many injuries, and they also
Quentin
aren't getting
Johnson
a pass
limited
rush.
in practice with the hamstring both days today, or both this
Cool.
week too. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see if he practices in full today. I don't know.
Yeah, and everyone's trying to martingale Ladd still, and his just role in the offense isn't conducive enough to have a high ceiling for fantasy. He can be fine, but he's not getting downfield opportunities. He did have the end zone target last week, but he's just not getting the types of targets that really lead to a lot of fantasy points. It just feels like you have to suck out so much. It feels like such an uphill battle for him to have a spike week.
It does, because not only has Johnson really emerged this year, but Keenan Allen,
he gets all the money stuff.
Yeah, and he had a 36% targets per out run last week, Keenan Allen. He had 31% week 1, 28% week 2, 24% week 3, 21% week 4. So, I mean, if your worst of this season is at 21%, which is pretty good, or at least not bad, Ladd's been above that once, and it was week 1.
He comes in and all the high leverage stuff. He's 3rd in the NFL in target rate on 3rd down. And he's got a 41% target share in the red zone, which is wide receiver 4. He's the foxhole dude. He's only averaging 10 yards per catch, 6.5 yards per target, but he plays in all the money situations.
Yeah. And so Johnson, and this depends on but let's say he gets in a full practice and good to go. He's the guy I'm most interested in this game, because I'm worried about passing volume, but he's the downfield guy. He's got a 12.3 ADOT. Allen is at 8.3. Ladd's at 8.7. So, as we know, he's kind of the downfield playmaking guy. And his numbers aren't that far off Allen's. 23% target share to Allen's 25%. Ladd's at 19. He's been good this year. 1.99 yards per out run. That leads the 3 receivers. And this, I think, is the spot. If I was playing a Chargers receiver, I would want to be able to get there on a couple plays.
Yes.
And not have to rely on volume. Anything on the Dolphin side jump out?
No, I mean, it's, Mike McDaniel continues to understand the assignment. It's one of those things that he has faults as a head coach, but this dude can still coax out the best of a bad situation. It's what he kind of consistently does. Now we have it back to kind of a core of, Achane, Waddle, and Darren Waller now. Waddle had a 27% target share. He had 51% of team air yards, which is his highest rate in a game since the last time Tyreek Hill missed the game. The Chargers, actually, for as good as their defense has been top down, they have allowed some big games. The wide receiver ones, Cortland Sutton, 6 for 118 and 1. Debo, 8 for 96 and 1. Hollywood had the 10 for 99. Jacoby Myers was just more solid, 6 for 68. Waddle had like a massive jump in first read target share, which we expected because wide receiver 9 in week 5. So he's a guy I think you can just count on that Mike McDaniel's going to find a way to get him the football. So I think he's still playable as a solid play. And then, the Achane and Waller looks legit good too, by the way.
He looks good.
Like,
yeah.
Like rejuvenated. Like that seam shot he had, like
it's not fun to like we were all kind of dismissive of Darren Waller, and now he's come back and he's actually looked good. And I think there hasn't been an embracing of Darren Waller's return, because we were all like, pretty much, if you do content, you're probably on the wrong side, including me, of this Darren Waller coming back and actually like being productive. And look, the routes haven't really been there yet.
He talked about it though. He said after Monday, the plan was to jump 50%, and then it jumped. And he said the plan is to keep ramping. And he clearly has a red zone role. We saw Jonnu have a red zone role.
He was up to 68% route participation last week, which is already in the zone where like you're like, okay, this guy's not like a true full-time guy, but we play tight ends all the time. But like Hunter Henry is sub 80% route participation this year. And like no one's like, oh, Hunter Henry's in a part-time role. Like Hunter Henry's in a full-time tight end role, and he's about 10% higher in route participation than Darren Waller. Darren Waller could easily jump that. He could be higher. He could be in the 80s this week. It wouldn't surprise me.
He said it was good. He said the plan is for it to continue to go. It's awesome when he comes off the field for the other Jamokes, because the other Jamokes aren't involved. Like, Julian Hill and Tanner Connor, like they just come in the game to like basically run block or do some like design thing. Like when Waller's actually on the field, his snaps are actually kind of higher leverage. So even though he may not ever get there, it's kind of like Dalton Kincaid in a sense, like where Dalton Kincaid is getting like more like when he's utilized, it kind of matters. It's just that he's in a team. Dalton Kincaid's on a team though that's good at running the ball and is up a lot. The Dolphins aren't. So
he's also like he's like Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid, because he's like actually involved in the end zone. Right?
Yes.
Like
in the red zone. Well, Kincaid's actually been this year. Finally,
he has been
a couple.
Bit,
So the Chargers have been excellent against tight ends to open the year. Obviously, Derwin is Derwin still, but he's just on the board because it's such a position that just lacks upside that you can't ignore it.
Totally. Yeah, I kind of talked myself into him because I was looking in DFS wise, it doesn't look like people are going to really be going to him.
No, he won't be popular.
Yeah, but I think he's in play. And then Waddle jumps out to me as a guy who's like, people are like, yeah, you could play Waddle. But
it's because people hate Waddle. Like he's had like this. I'm trying to think of a good comp for him.
I kind of hate Waddle though, and I'm interested. What, like I faded the shit out of Waddle this year.
But he's always been kind of even last week. Did you? I didn't know if like your thing was going on Sunday or not. But did you see like the fourth play? It was like the fourth play of the game. He caught a pass and limped off the sideline. I was like, oh shit,
God, yeah.
Because he does that like the Julio Jones thing.
Yeah,
it's like
totally,
damn it, Waddle,
totally,
every time. Like this dude, here we go.
Yeah. No, I had him in my best lineup had Waddle. So, and I was kind of like, it's fine. Like Waddle's like not killing me. And then he had that late touchdown. I was like, okay, Waddle, like, let's go. But yeah, I mean, he's 1.99 yards per outrun. I think I added an extra 1.99 yards per outrun this year. He's 91st percentile in open score. Targets per outrun of 21%, solid. And I think we'll be going up with Tyreek Hill out. Yep. You have, last week, he was at 26% with a 15.3 ADOT, getting targeted downfield a decent amount, 3.24 yards per outrun, helps to have a long touchdown. But Malik Washington was just at 63% route participation, didn't really see an uptake. He was at 61% the week before, 66 before that. So same stuff there. 8% first read target rate.
It's Josh Downs. He's not impactful in the run game.
I don't even know if he's Josh Downs. I think that's
well, I just mean like
derogatory to Josh Downs.
That is true. It actually was derogatory to Josh Downs. But I meant like he's one of these guys when you look at a player leaving the lineup and you're like, oh, he's going to get a jump, and it's like, no, this dude's not going to play in any one to two wide receiver sets like at all.
Right.
Like,
but first read target rate this year, for Malik Washington. Week 1, 8. Week 2, 0. Week 3, 8. Week 4, 0. Week 5, 8. Week 6. Week 6. Match the pattern.
He
0
had 4
targets.
catches for 0 yards last week.
Yeah. I mean, those are first read targets, so he could still get some non-first reads. But it's just not like nothing about what happened last week. He saw 20% targets per out run, which is 1% higher than his previous high, which was 19% the week before. So, like, okay, like he technically set a high there, but 0 yards per out run was his low. So I'm just there's nothing's happened. This is not what's picking up the slack. And then Waller has a good, or sorry, Waller did have a good game, but Waddle has a really good game. Isn't he doing like the upside thing is that he consolidates the Waddle and Tyreek roles, and like he just did that, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of excitement about it. And I know that this isn't a great
Because
matchup, but
they're just funny
to
because
your
that was
point,
the
it's not a
thesis,
terrible
right?
one.
Wasn't that the
Yeah,
thesis for Waddle in the offseason? Was like, hey, if Tyreek gets traded, Waddle lift off.
totally. And like here we are, but because we're like everyone's sick of the Dolphins, and I get it. They're not fun, but
offensively, they've been game.
they've been okay recently. Yeah, they've been totally fine.
Like it's not 3 years ago Dolphins, but like
No.
they're scoring over 20 points a game, like since week
Yeah.
1. Like so, and we know where the ball's going.
Exactly. I don't know if to me, it's probably like I'm playing like a couple Dolphins and then like stacking something else. But the Sims seem to generally like that type of thing. Like, and frankly, just like as one-off plays, like Waddle and Waller both look like pretty good plays to me. Where on the Chargers side, I'm like, I don't know where the targets are going, and I'm not sure what the volume is going to be. On the Dolphins side, I actually kind of feel like a little bit better about the volume. They had a 12% pass rate over expected last week. No, sorry, that's wrong. They had a 10% pass rate over expected last week, 15% on first down. And they ended up passing 76% of the time, second highest rate of the year. But they've been 75% plus in 3 games this season. And so like they're not allergic to the pass at all. Their running back is best used as a receiver. And teams have actually passed on the Chargers at a high rate. 66% pass rate against the Chargers this year, a 5% PROE, a 3% shift to the pass. They're pretty good in coverage, but not a team that opponents really have feared in terms of passing on. Now, maybe that changes if the Chargers themselves go run heavy, but you get the condensed offense and a team that may be more committed to the pass on the Dolphins side. And I don't think it's going to come with any ownership in DFS if you're playing these guys as one-off. I don't think I'm like doing double stacks with Tua, but
No.
I think that both of his main targets are in play. And then Achan's in a solid spot too. Obviously he's kind of going to get there. Like he has the potential to get there regardless of the script, which you like. And by the way, he's up to 71% of the carries last week, 65% in week 4. So the Ollie Gordon looked like maybe he was going to do something like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, when I wrote that up, I was
not a threat.
wondering. I kind of questioned if that was just a Thursday night, a short week thing or not.
Yeah, I think so.
I was kind of like, is this a short week type of? But, yeah.
Haskins, how interested are you in him or Kamani?
I mean, I think those guys are just kind of like season long plays. Like if you need a body,
Yeah.
we would assume that Haskins has like the early down stuff, probably better shot at goal line carry. If they do get pushed to throw, it might be some more stuff for Vidal where he's like more of like a usage in the passing game. Because last year when Vidal played over Haskins, the problem was Gus Edwards was there. Now Gus Edwards isn't there, so it's like Haskins is probably Gus Edwards, and Vidal then becomes the Vidal role when he played with Dobbin or with Edwards, right? It's not necessarily he played over him. It's just that they had a guy that served that role that Haskins was a direct backup to. So I think we probably see some kind of split like that. I don't have a great feel for it. They also like they weren't a good running team before this. Like and we're on like the
Hampton was good is really what it was.
Yeah, well, even Hampton had the one kind of big game.
Right.
But like as a down to down consistency, like they weren't a really good run team because the offensive line is not good.
Yeah.
So like it's just problematic to be excited for it. Again, the Dowdle stuff. But like to be fair, Dowdle was a guy at least last year showed us like was efficient and was a good running back. We don't have a sample of like either of these guys giving us like anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just really we're flying blind, to be honest. Like I think it's a lot of guesswork. I think projection would be like, hey, if you need these guys for season long as bodies, it's fine. For DFS, I'm not going here.
I agree. How excited are you about Achane in the spot?
I mean, lukewarm. I'm excited about other running backs on the slate a little bit more, but I'm never against Achane because we always know what he's capable of. He's literally, CMC Mario before he eats the mushroom. Like he's like just the same stuff. He's not really efficient as a runner, or it's volatile. And then, but like he's
What kind of
second in
mushrooms
target
is
share.
CMC on this year, though?
He's
I
like he's
think
stealing
it's the wrong
everyone's
time.
soul, man. Yeah. Uh, But like he has that receiving role, and like it's like a real receiving role where it's like they're doing stuff with him in the receiving game, like that touchdown
Totally,
he had
totally.
last week, like him and CMC, like they come on that Thursday night game, they come in goal line package, and they shift to wide where CMC's out wide on a linebacker. It's like the demon shit, and that's
Yeah,
what Mike McDaniel's doing. Does that with Achane. Like this is stuff that's hard to defend. I mean, since he entered the league, Achane has the most receiving touchdowns amongst all running backs. One more, Christian McCaffrey. Like it's the same stuff. Like it's the same usage. Like you don't love that the rushing efficiency is so volatile, and that sometimes they do bring Gordon inside the 5,
yeah, they
but
do
the
sometimes. Yeah.
receiving stuff is something you can hang your hat on as just giving you like a safe floor. But I do like some guys in the slate that will probably get to you a little bit more than him. But I'm fine. I'm completely fine with him.
I feel similarly. Where it's like, yeah, he's a totally fine play. Doesn't jump out to me, but part of his appeal is that like he doesn't have to jump out to you. He's just
Right.
going to be like a good play
He's
every week. Yeah.
and he's a guy that could turn in big plays. Like he's a big play dude.
100%.
So like
100%. And it doesn't look like he'll be super owned this week. So he's someone I'm going to keep my eye on. Is maybe like an under the radar guy.
I'm gonna stack this game, like you said, at least once in a small field. Probably
How?
something, probably something like Waddle, Achane, Quentin Johnston,
Mm,
something like that, to try to
that's
play through.
fun.
Just because this game is a volatile game because of all the moving parts, but like I do think there's still an upside outcome if like you do have the optimal run out.
I agree. Yeah, there is still upside in this game. It's just fragile.
Yeah,
It,
yeah. That's what I said.
yeah,
Small field single entry is where I think I want to play that core, like that group of dudes. And Waddle,
yeah,
I think, is just like a good core play, anyways.
I agree. I've been surprised there's not like more hype about him. At least like looking at ownership and stuff. It doesn't seem like people are. I mean, it's not like he's like completely unknown, but
But I
it
do think
happened,
that's
right?
part of the slate.
And it just happened.
But I do think it's part of the slate this week is a lot of people, like with the pricing being tighter, and they're just so indoctrinated the way we played DFS the first 5 weeks is to get two of those three top dudes, and they're going to keep wanting to click those even at a higher price point. And then
Right.
it's harder to build out the rest of your roster this week doing that. That some of the mid-range guys are getting kind of looked over this week.
Well, like we have JSN, who's not, if you would just like, it's like, well, Puka becomes JSN, right? And then you can CMC becomes Achan, and
Yep.
you just take the discount versions. You can kind of build like we were building.
To build that
But
same roster,
yeah, yeah. All right, let's go to Patriots at Saints. I'll kick this one over to you. I've got thoughts on the
yeah.
Patriots side, but you can kick this one off.
Well, listen, we got our kind of first litmus test. We wanted to see because part of the thesis of Drake May was the upside outcome, but also his opening schedule was great. And it was like part of the thesis of Drake May is like, man,
And
we
now
could
schedule gets hard, Rich, or what happens now?
no, but like
No, it's still
it was
so easy.
yeah, but it was like, all right, Sunday night, we're gonna get like a first real test. Like, where are the
Yeah,
Patriots?
yeah,
Like, where are the Patriots? Because they just had come off of waxing the Panthers at home. It's like,
totally.
all right, well, where are
They
our
lost to
where
the Raiders. They lost to the Steelers.
it's like where are the Patriots? And then
Yeah.
they are game. They're up for the matchup. Drake May is awesome, incredible second half. Uh he now leads the NFL in completion rate on throws 10 or further yards
Hell
downfield.
yeah.
68.9%. The league average is 47.9%. We've also seen Josh McDaniels incorporate, just more creativity in the offense, over the past 4 weeks. 54% pre-snap motion rate, play action rate at 31%. That's fifth in the league using pre-snap motion. Drake May, 121.1 rating, 9.1 yards per pass, and that's second in the NFL using play action. 8.1 yards per pass attempt is 12th. And where that all lines up is against the Saints. The Saints, 8.3 yards per pass attempt allowed on pre-snap motion. That's 27th in the league. 8.2 yards per pass attempt against play action passes. On throws 10 or yards or further downfield, they're 25th in completion rate allowed. All this lines up. Keep cooking. And they've also are 24th in rushing points allowed to point quarterbacks. And we get this slate without Jalen Hurts, who played on Thursday. Lamar Jackson's not playing. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are on prime time. Jaden Daniels on prime time. And Drake May played on Sunday night, so the pricing was already set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
so he's going to be the chalkiest quarterback, but I think it just all makes sense, though.
I don't know it'd be like that chalky, though. I mean, he's going to be.
No quarterbacks are ever you're never getting 20, 30% in any quarterback, but
right.
I think he's going to be the most popular play because of the pricing and all the things we've talked about with pricing this week.
But when you go to stack him, it's probably Diggs.
Oh, yeah.
But, Diggs is 5,800, so he's not super cheap. And I think there's still a little bit.
He would have been more, though, if they play that game on Sunday afternoon.
More.
Diggs is probably because they even we talked about Tet McMillan. They upped Tet McMillan's price. They would have raised Diggs' price for sure.
Oh no, 100%. But he's the reverse Herbert, where he wasn't right to start the year. Wasn't running a lot of routes. Wasn't efficient, and then obviously he just had this amazing game. But the week before that, week 4, he had 82% route participation, a 39% targets per out run, and 5.61 yards per out run with a 13 ADOT. He was used downfield. So that was all right. That was the Panthers game. He was already hey, I'm back. And then he blows up against the Bills, gets 6.35 yards per out run against the Bills and a 52% targets per out run because he was only on the field for 64% of dropbacks, but still pretty exciting. But now we've got 2 weeks where it's all right, Diggs has clearly turned a corner with the health. He looks like Diggs again. Open score, Diggs is in the 99th percentile right now. He's flashing he's
and yak, Diggs. Dude. That was the most yak we've had from Stephon Diggs in a game since 2022.
Damn. So I mean, and the other thing, last year, remember for the Texans, they I guess Nico got hurt and they kind of go to Diggs and it's right before he tears his ACL, but he racked up targets. Yep. But it was out of the slot and it was kind of scammy and everything. He's only 41% of his snaps have been in the slot this year, so he is playing some in the slot, but he's their true number one. They don't have anybody that can really do anything consistently outside.
And they're rotating the other guys too.
They're rotating the other guys, but I don't know. I think Diggs, another one of these guys where he'll probably be even more played than Waddle, and I'm sure he'll be played plenty with Drake May, who to your point will be popular. But we finally have a stack with May that seems to me pretty obvious, but maybe I think the field maybe isn't as excited about old Stephon Diggs, and it's okay, yeah, he had a good game, but it was a revenge game. Does he still all the juice? He just saved it up and used it all against the Bills, and now it's going to be done.
Week 4, though, he went over 100 yards and played.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think it's not just the Bills game. Is a very long way of saying it's not just the Bills game. He actually ran more routes against the Panthers and was extremely efficient against them too. And now gets an awesome matchup. The Saints defense stinks.
And now he's at 1 year. I think I saw this is basically the 1 year removed. He's a full year removed now from the injury.
And you look at the injury stuff, the injury doctors, they're all the Twitter doctors. I guess everyone's kind of an injury doctor in a way. But all the injury experts, they're kind of this was the track. It's he'll ramp up and then maybe by October, mid-October he'll be nearing 100% then. Clean ACL tear, was able to practice right away, get on the field right away. It's all kind of ramping up towards maybe they have a number one here. Maybe this is not a by default situation. So a stack with him, I think Hunter Henry's in play. You do not need a bring back, but you could do a Shaheed. I think Olave will get some ownership. I'm less into that.
He's going to do his Jacoby Myers thing.
Yeah, he's the new Jacoby.
I said if you need, I said earlier in the podcast, I was if you need 51 yards, Olave will get you 54 yards. If you need 60 yards, he'll get you 54 yards.
How many targets will it take?
I mean, it's a bummer because I actually do like Olave as a player. It's just he's in this weird role where it's just everything is short, quick first read stuff. He's not really doing anything downfield. I do like Shaheed. I like the May Diggs Shaheed.
Maydick
trio.
Shaheed is fun. Yeah.
Well, because Christian Gonzalez, I didn't see. I meant to look before to see if he practiced today. He re-aggravated his hamstring,
Mm-hmm.
and you know they're
He's
they're
questionable
running
now. Let me see. They have
they're
the
running a lot of
report
man coverage.
limited.
Yeah. They're running a lot of man coverage, and Shaheed has been targeted 36% of his routes against man coverage, 12.5% against zone. It's why we liked him against the Giants last week, is the man coverage stuff, and he gets the pop one. So Patriots are also 31st in the league in explosive pass rate allowed. So I think there's some signal here to play Shaheed. I know it feels like point chasing because he had the 90-yard touchdown last week, but the matchup lines up again. We know they're going to throw. Because the Patriots run defense is awesome. All that money they spent, that
Really
was
good.
the other thing going into Sunday night I wanted to see proof of, because their schedule, they faced like a bunch of teams weeks 1 through 4 that couldn't run. And I was like, all right, we knew they spent all this money in the run game. Let's see if they can stop a real run game. And dude, they actually shut down James Cook. So I don't think the Saints are going to run on them if the Bills couldn't. So
Milton Williams has played really well this year. That was their big. Famously, I said he was an impactful signing for fantasy football, and you know what? He is. He is an impactful signing. The Patriots can stop the run now.
and if they're going to play man coverage and stop the run, that's actually pretty great for fantasy football.
Yeah,
It's
it
how you
is.
give up big plays.
And they've done that. And yeah, Gonzalez coming back. So they have this dude, I think it's his name's Alex Austin, I believe, is the cornerback they've playing instead of Christian Gonzalez, and he has stunk. One of the things I looked at this week for the walkthrough is I was looking at yards allowed in primary coverage per coverage snap, and kind of just like, okay, because the coverage grades are always tough with these cornerbacks because
Yeah.
it's like really about like when you were targeted, how did you do? Sort of like
Yeah.
yards per target for cornerback, but like
Well, and plus, like the grade isn't like, yeah, like the grade kind of masks, like, well, we care about from fantasy football stance, like, was like, well, where are the counting stats?
yeah, where are they targeting? Like,
Yeah.
and like you see, Adoree Jackson had to play last night
Yep.
because of injury, and he had been benched, right? But then there's an injury, so he's back out there. Williams is hurt, so
And we're not doing
literally,
that Chiefs game, but like, dude, that Sunday night game looks like a
oh dude,
bloodbath.
it's crazy. Yeah, I haven't written that one up yet, but I have that tagged. Like the lines are like popping in a really bad way in terms of the injuries. The way I have my stuff set up. But yeah, so like I had the prime vision, and you're like literally like the guy, darts like heads like moving before the snap, like where's the Dory? They so these cornerbacks who get picked on in coverage, there's a few of them in the league. We'll talk about one on the Raiders coming up,
Yeah.
but the Patriots have one who doesn't have to play if Christian Gonzalez plays. So they it's like a huge shift. It's like you go from a huge weak link to their best cornerback and a very good cornerback. It matters a lot if Gonzalez plays. Like it matters a lot because it opens up a real weakness for them. And they do play a lot of man coverage. I think they have another. I think one of their safeties is banged up too. So
Well, they came into the season with just like unsure, unsettled safety play, and they've been throwing a lot of dudes out at
yeah,
that spot too. And that's why they've been so bad against tight ends too.
it's
Yeah,
it's
Jalen
Jalen
Hawkins.
Hawkins.
Yeah.
Jalen Hawkins he hadn't practiced
And
Wednesday
Duggar,
or
who was
Thursday.
good, has not really been good either, but like he's hardly playing.
And Jalen Hawkins had another. He's out. Jalen Hawkins out with a hamstring.
Oh, so Duggar
So
might have to play.
yeah, sneaky cluster of injuries kind of popping up late, and Gonzalez was not on the injury report, limited on Thursday, which means he probably heard it in practice, and then limited again today. So if Gonzalez is out, I actually think that like changes things. This becomes a like a game environment that I really like if Gonzalez is out, because I think the Rattler has been
Functional.
functional. And last week, 81st percentile in EPA per play, 85th percentile in success rate. He had that long 87-yard touchdown to Shaheed, didn't take a sack, didn't throw an interception.
Well, he's doing all the stuff. He's doing the bus driver thing. He's only 24% of his plays have gained 1 EPA or better. That's 19th in the league. We call these like boom bust ratios. But only 13.8% of his plays have been -1 EPA or worse, which is 11th in the league. So he's just like in that
Nice.
middle of just doing the job. I think
Yep.
we're going to see Dylan Gabriel do the same thing.
Dylan Gabriel's the same thing. Totally. Yeah.
Just don't kill us. That's
But
literally what Kellen Moore's done to Spencer Rattler. Like, don't kill us, man.
totally. So the Patriots, I wrote up the Patriots because I thought Gonzalez was playing. And I was like, okay, here's the numbers. They're 28th in passing DVOA, 26th in EPA, 30th in success rate. They're 29th in coverage grade, and they're dead last in explosive plays. They're allowing explosive plays at the highest rate in the league. But hey, look, these numbers overstate things in a bad way because Gonzalez is back and they're a lot more sound now. But if these numbers are real, which they are, if they're down their safety and best cornerback, then I don't know. I mean, maybe we do want to play some Olave. Maybe we are boosting Shaheed a decent amount. I want to play it, I think, through the passing game, not the running game. Kamara's been
Yeah. What
it's
I said, we
it's
said their run
ending.
defenses. I don't want to try.
Yeah.
I don't want to try about that.
Kamara's on he's like the dimmer switch where you turn it all the it's like, is it off? Like, no, it's still on.
It
So
reminds
just a
me.
little.
The situation reminds me a lot of last year of where ETN and Tank Bigsby were, where like Bigsby was so efficient, but like just only got handoffs.
Yeah,
Like, and
yeah.
like ETN just was really inefficient last year. Like that's where Kamara is right now.
God.
Just like really, but he's obviously running more passing route stuff. But I don't like any of these guys here. Then you have the Taysom factor. Like now he's back, and him coming back from that injury as fast as he did is the most Taysom Hill thing.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, but I mean, Alvin Kamara had I think 27% of the carries last week.
Yeah, he's supposedly dealing with some kind of
Yeah,
ankle
that's
thing
right.
too. So
Right. He was limited in practice. I think he hurt his ankle on Wednesday, but ultimately wasn't like a huge deal. But he's been limited all week, and he suffered the ankle injury in practice on Wednesday and hasn't gotten in a full practice yet. So I'm not touching Kamara no matter what.
mm-mm.
But yeah, increasingly interested in Shaheed and Olave, I would say.
Yeah. And Olave, I'm not even poo-pooing Olave. It's a weird joke. It's just like anytime like there's like this archetype of player is like tracking to be really popular because he's 5,100 on DraftKings, and it's like I'm just never excited to play that player when he's owned. Like when Michael Pittman's really popular,
Yeah,
I'm not never excited to click. Like
that's true.
I see the gap, right? Like Olave's projected ownership versus Shaheed's, and that's why I'm like, oh well, I don't want to play Shaheed.
I agree. And when you think about winning a tournament, at 5,100, you're going to need like a pretty big
That's
score
the
there.
thing, right? Like you still need to have like a 25-point game. Like I
Totally.
actually what's funny is because you brought up the Raiders thing and we don't have to talk about that game yet, but it's like he's right above Calvin Ridley. And I think Calvin Ridley has a cleaner path to a tournament worthy score than
Dude,
Olave does.
I touted him on the DFS pod earlier. I'm kind of into Calvin
Yeah.
Ridley.
Well, especially on this slate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll
to be fair,
get to him, but
Hilo tried to push me to Cam Ward as an extra bridge, and I was like, I don't know, buddy, but like,
there's a format in which Cam Ward's a good play this week. I'm just not sure what it is. It might be like underdog draft games, like late slate, like
he
maybe
put
because I
he said Cam Ward, Calvin Ridley, Janty. This is the path. I was like, oh, buddy.
I'm not doing it in DFS. I don't even think salary cap DFS late slate I would do it, but it may you could get me on it. You get maybe in the draft games, which I haven't really played, so it
Yep,
could be a
yep.
bad take. But I will get to that one. But I do like Cam Ward a little bit this week too. Not really this year, but this week.
Yeah. But I
But
think
yeah,
Olave's
Rashid.
fine. If it's like PPR cash, that's fine. But I'm not excited to play him in like anything else outside of that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Shaheed that's a little tricky. He's 4,600. You're still probably want like a
Yeah.
25-point game from him too. So
Well,
you
the
know,
thing I think that's exciting about this particular stack though is you can kind of do it as like an all encompassing because all three guys are probably underpriced: Shaheed,
yeah,
May, and
yeah,
Diggs. And
yeah,
if the collective at that price point can get you
yeah.
to the score you want, because out of those three at that price point, you would be looking at probably like around like 65 PPR points. And I think that there is still a path to where that could happen at that price point, and then you can take on some of the chalk that goes around it.
I like it. I like it. Um, Hunter Henry, I think is fine here.
Yeah, he's
Not
fine.
like a smash, but totally fine. Um, the running game stuff. I mean, I'm not that into the Patriots running game either.
No, I mean, you game script wise, you would just say there's more opportunity. We got one more domino out of the way with Antonio Gibson suffering his injury. Also got hurt on a play where Trevion Henderson missed a
Missed
block.
a block.
Not
Yeah,
great.
really not great.
But it is one more domino out of the way. But
Yeah, but it's going to be split.
it is
And the thing
100%.
with Travion Henderson is that he has the lowest rushing success rate in the NFL. It's been like that's I think even more than missing the block. Like that's not how you
Yeah.
get on the field.
Well,
And
his
that's
his deployment is I think the most disappointing thing about Trey Anderson right now is his deployment. Is he's not getting the outside. His outside runs have been fine, but he was a bad inside runner in college. That's why he shared work with a guy that was a
right,
banger. Like,
right.
and they're not using him creatively in the pass game, which is I thought for sure was going to happen and hasn't happened.
I did too. That really cool throw to Ramondre Stevenson back in like week
Yeah.
2 was supposed
He
to
had like
be
one
Trayvon
sweet
Henderson apparently.
wheeler out in that game. I
Yeah,
will say though, it's the one thing I keep saying about Henderson is like if you're holding on because we had another domino falls. Like I keep going back to like the opening month of like the Jahmyr Gibbs season, and like Jahmyr Gibbs, as a rookie, his opening month was a very slow start. People thought it was, we ended
yeah.
on a high note. So just keep that in mind. I don't think this Patriots team is that Lions team either. I don't think we're gonna get that kind of run out, but just
I don't
keep in
think he's
mind. I
Gibbs
mean,
either. Like I
no,
like Henderson, but he Gibbs was an incredible prospect, like
yeah,
really, really strong. The only real issue with Gibbs was that he was a little bit undersized. He's like 202 pounds at the combine or whatever. And but like honestly, if Gibbs was like 213, he would have been considered like up there with
oh
the
god, yeah, dude.
top prospects. Like he was, I mean, he went mid first or early first round.
Go
Like
12.
he
Yeah.
12th, yeah. Like he was an incredible running back prospect. I think kind of underrated because we were a little bit too worried about the weight. Even I was like too worried. I wasn't that worried about it, but I was too worried about it. Henderson's not that level of prospect. He's good. He's a good prospect, but not
No, I
that
mean,
level.
and listen, man, the Lions were ahead of the defensive meta with Gibbs too, because part of the fantasy stuff was because that was the same year HAM came out too. And like we had yet to kind of shift to that meta where like that archetype of running back had a better fantasy role because of the way
Mhm.
defenses were playing than previously had existed. Because we had come through an era where it was like, hey, man, this 200-pound guy is going to be used as a satellite back. He's going to be hamstrung. And then we're in an era where like that type of running back is actually really prevalent because of all the zone coverage and like the first, like using these passing game weapons is actually good for fantasy football now. Um,
Hopefully Henderson gets there. I don't. He's not really
yeah.
there right now.
No, 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 no.
Jawan Johnson, I'll also note his route participation has been down a little bit recently with Taysom Hill back. He's not a piece that I'm gravitating to at all this week, even with some of the excitement we talked about with and the Patriots defense being hurt. The other thing is that the man coverage stuff is pretty good for the wide receivers. Patriots, we kind of touched on this, but just share this note quickly. They have the sixth highest rate of man coverage this year. They're also sixth highest over the last 2 weeks. So kind of with or without Gonzalez, they've been playing a lot of man.
Yep.
And against man coverage, Shaheed has a 36% targets per out run and 2.64 yards per out run, and Olave's at 32% and 1.76. So these two wide receivers are where the targets go against man. We should see plenty of man potentially with one of the worst cornerbacks in the league on the field for a lot of snaps. So could be fun.
Yeah.
Probably playing it through the Patriots with bringbacks would be
Yep.
not Stack and Rattler.
No.
For not Stack and Ward,
Unfortunately
not Stack and
not.
Rattler.
Sorry. Like I said.
All right, Cardinals at Colts. It sounds like we're going to get Kyler Murray here.
Yeah, he practiced.
Yeah, he practiced. Barring a setback, is going to play. It looks like, but
Which is kind of
man,
sad. I did want to see a
kind of
quarterback
wanted
that
to
could
see
see
it
over the
too.
middle of the field play.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have that much interesting to say about this game. I guess on the Colts side, I'll note that Daniel Jones, like so I was looking at one of the things I look at is like success rate versus EPA per game, and you can kind of have like a line of best fit, and you say like if you're way above that line, you're probably running hot because success rate is more stable than EPA. EPA is like you throw a 87-yard touchdown, that's huge EPA, and then
Yes.
you don't do that the following week. It's like, oh wow, your EPA fell. Like yeah, you throw an interception, big negative EPA, take a bunch of sacks, tons of negative EPA. It swings, right? The success rate, either successful, not
Yeah.
successful, a lot less swingy. So the guys who have good success rates and really strong efficiency are the guys where it's looking sustainable. Daniel Jones is there. That's what
Mhm.
he has. He has an awesome success rate. His success rate is like kind of too awesome. It's like better than Tom Brady in 2007. Like it's not going to hold, but it's still like really good. So like the efficiency that he has right now, the profile, the combo of those two metrics looks sustainable. The reason that you would be skeptical is because it's Daniel Jones, and also like he's playing so well that like he won't be able to. It's kind of like Puka or JSN, where like it's going to drop off. But it's like Puka or JSN if that player was Daniel Jones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like what's happening. So I don't anticipate this holding. At the same time, there's not like it's not like one of these crazy outliers where like imminently we would expect him to crater. It's just that he's probably, you know, the way the NFL works, not going to be able to be this efficient for the rest of the year. But like this kind of looks real for the most part, statistically. He's in a decent matchup here. They're going to work to establish the run. Jonathan Taylor, obviously a great play. But I kind of came away thinking like, okay, if we trust Daniel Jones to kind of keep doing his stuff, we trust Shane Steichen, which we definitely do. They're running play action at the highest rate. They got motion. They're using motion in the 11th highest rate, and they're passing on first down at a really high rate. 13% PROE on 1st and 10 3 weeks ago, then 6% 2 weeks ago, then 16% last week. I love that. That's a way of setting your quarterback up for success in neutral situations. Even if you're a run heavy team, passing on first down at a high rate is just like good for the efficiency of the offense generally. And of course, Jones is executing, so the whole thing's just working really well. Like this offense is humming, is really what's happening.
Yep.
And Tyler Warren jumps out as the play here because they should be leading here. And he has been dominant on play action. He's behind only Jake Ferguson in targets per out run on play action. Jake Ferguson has 57% targets per out run there, which is insane.
Yeah.
But Warren is at 39%. And this isn't tight ends. Puka is third at 35%. So among all receivers, Tyler Warren is third in targets per out run on play action.
He gets all that
They are
RPO stuff.
all the RPR. Yeah, totally. Like the Colts are kind of built to play from ahead, and or at least play in kind of neutral script, and that's great for Jonathan Taylor. But it's also really good for Tyler Warren. And so he jumps out here as like this guy where like the game gets fun. Tyler Warren could smash. There's more dropbacks than expected. That's obviously great for a pass catcher. But if the game's just kind of what we expect it to be,
Right.
he's going to be heavily involved. And you know, Taylor obviously great play, great player, but getting more expensive now. So Warren is kind of the piece that jumps out to me as the most fun for DFS.
Yeah, I mean, we just need to count on the Cardinals to give us anything here. And that's the thing we talk about. It's kind of very similar to that Panthers game we talked about. Like we just need the Cardinals to show us something. At least they've been better than the Panthers. But yeah, Daniel Jones. I mean, the Colts are 11th in dropback rate in the first half of games. Daniel Jones leads the NFL in fantasy points in the first half. But he's 23rd in second half scoring. The Colts have a 31st. They're 31st in dropback rate. They're just mopping these teams is the problem. They're
Yeah.
like these teams that they're supposed to beat. Like not only are they beating them, like they're crushing these teams. Like and like it's actually hurt a little bit of the run out. I comped them a little bit to like the Packers, like the way they're playing. Because
Yeah.
like Jonathan Taylor's just a Josh Jacobs, like they get these leads, they're doing all the stuff we want fundamentally. You've got Warren, you've got Kraft, they've got kind of like the rotation of a deep receiver pool, although like Pittman's a little over core guy. It's just like, yeah, they're just doing the same thing. It's like what the Packers do. You just have to hope that they're in games where like they get pushed and they keep throwing.
Did you just call Michael Pittman Romeo Dobbs?
No, I think a little more of a core guy, but that they have a deeper receiver pool, like where they kind of get these guys involved. But we just need them to be pushed. Like last Sunday, they threw 5 passes in the second half. Last week, Tyler Warren is the tight end 18 in second half targets this year. And it's just we need the push. We need the push from the Cardinals.
Do we get it? I don't think we get it. Right?
I don't know. Cardinals are so boring. They're just such a vanilla team. They do nothing fun.
Kyler's
done
people
nothing
excited about
fun.
Petzig? I never. What was the excitement for? Because I've yet to be excited.
It's hard to say, right? Like this marriage, I think there's a version where Kyler, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Petzing are all good, but they're not good together. Like
interesting. Like they all need to be on different teams.
Like they all just like I feel like well, definitely Kyler and Marv do not have like where Kyler's strengths are do not suit where Marv wins.
Kyler and Neighbors would have been fun, I think.
Yeah, and like where Petzing dials stuff up, like he's trying to get stuff for Marv, But again, the quarterback play is not there. And like anytime that they structurally are in a position where the team opposition knows that they're throwing, that the Cardinals have to throw, they're just moving so far uphill. And now that the run game is bad now, it's just like, what is exciting about this offense? It's just very hard. Like, what is working? They've got a few more explosives from Marv the last couple weeks, but that's really it. Even
Yeah,
dude, like McBride's the most boring fantasy player there is. Like,
I know.
it sucks, man. Like it sucks. In terms of like flex scoring, McBride's 62nd overall. Like this he's more like he's very much just like Jake Ferguson right now. Like it's crazy, man. Like he's not getting any fun plays. Like there's not doing anything fun.
That's so brutal.
And
Yeah,
he's averaging almost 20 fewer yards per game than where he was last year because the volume was there and the volume's not even there this year. The
it
target
should be
share
there
is
this
there,
week. It should be
but
there this
we
week.
hope.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
I think from a
I actually
McBride
was
perspective,
and if Murray's hurt, you would think that like he's
right?
throwing shorter, doing stuff like that. So maybe
You see,
McBride
good
gets the
that
run out.
Kyler Murray's hurt for McBride. That's the level of that's when you know things are
Oh, I
not going.
really wanted Brissett because Brissett, like historically, has like this. He's like since he's entered the NFL, he's like 9th in target rate to tight ends. I was like, oh man, we're gonna get Brissett. Like he's gonna pepper Trey McBride.
PSA on Michael Carter, who obviously could see quite a bit more work this week because Amari DeMarcado cost Jonathan Gannon literally $100,000 plus the win.
And then they
So
couldn't cut him because of that.
yeah, yeah.
Randomly, like what a PR nightmare that would have been.
Yeah. If you want to cut a guy, maybe don't punch him on TV. That would be my advice. The Carter last week had a 24% success rate and minus 29 rush yards over
Against the
expected
Titans.
against the Titans. So Carter stunk. He stunk.
Just got the ball a lot.
I got the ball a lot, but I don't know. They're like when a player is that bad, it's like some, oh, it's small sample. Is this sticky? Like, does it have to be? Because when you play that bad, you don't play again sometimes. Like Bam Knight might get more run. I would just be careful. Carter's like one of these guys you could talk yourself into, go down to, save a little money from like a Rico, not as chalky. 8 points or like that. I wouldn't, like this could be bad. This could be bad. So
He was
probably
a
a guy I'm not
7-point home favorite last week against the worst run defense in the NFL, and he's a 7-point road dog now.
Yeah.
I'm not chasing
Yeah.
this one.
I'm probably like docking him in the projection. Like I just don't.
He's in the like the Chargers guys zone for like if you need a body, it's fine in season long. Like it's if you just are hoping like to get some volume and you just need a dude, he's fine. But I'm not. He's not on my DFS board.
No, me neither. Okay, let's go. Anything else on the Colts? We didn't really talk about.
No, not really. Like I said, you just hope they get pushed. The offense,
Yeah.
this is a good team. It's a good offense. We just are looking for a little bit of pushback. The core guys all look good here. It's just you're hoping for some push. Alec Pierce looks like he's gonna be back.
Yeah, he should be back, which probably helps Pittman a little bit, just in the sense that Alec Pierce doesn't really get targeted that much. Downs, it doesn't really matter for Downs. You need 3 wide receivers. Like you need them to be pushed the most if you're playing Downs.
And it's a bummer because we're doing the same stuff with Downs again, like as always, like high target rate per out run. Matchup would be great if we knew there was targets. Like he leads the team in target rate against cover 4, which is what Arizona leads the NFL in. But like, how many snaps are we going to get? Like, good football player, just crummy spot for him.
Yeah, you need 11, and they're not going to be in 11 much this week, I don't think. All right, Browns at Steelers. Anything you want to kick us off with here?
Well, one of the guys I was excited for last week with the change from Joe Flacco to Dylan Gabriel was David Njoku. Because I just thought like where Njoku gets his stuff and Fannin to a degree, you just hope that Fannin gets more actual opportunities. But this is what Dylan Gabriel does. Like at Oregon with Tez Johnson and Terrence Ferguson, like this dude he's going to get the ball out. He's going to hit his drop and the ball's out. Like he's making a read. He's getting it out. That's why we saw, Njoku had his first read target share massively spiked, the season high target share, because Njoku is on the field a ton. Like he's 5th in the NFL amongst all tight ends in actual routes run. He was just missing targets. Like he got 80% drop back rate, just top 10. Dylan Gabriel in week 5, 2.45 seconds time to throw, 8th fastest in the NFL, paired with 6.2 air yards, 25th in the NFL. Flacco
Yep.
was 21st in time to throw, 18th in air yards. Steelers have also been a little bit vulnerable tight end. So I do think on DraftKings at 3,500, David Njoku he has some appeal. I think he's going to have another high target rate. I think Fannin will be targeted while he's on the field. We're looking for more consistent dropbacks with him. It was nice they gave him a little goal line look. But that's consistent with tight end twos, though, right? Like those 1 yard touchdowns. That's when they come. So we like a little more full field stuff for Fannin, but I think Gabriel's really good for these two tight ends because it also looks like as we further build out the sample of this Cleveland Browns passing game, those two tight ends are their best pass catchers. Like
They are.
Yeah, I
They are.
mean, so I think Dylan Gabriel breathed some life in Njoku, who was looking pretty dead with Flacco.
He was. Fannin, I like Fannin, but he had route participation 65 to open the year, then 50%, 71%. Okay, we're back on track 50% again last week. So now we've got two 50%ers in the last 3 weeks. That's obviously concerning. And Njoku, he was at 86% last week. And he had a 29% targets per out run, which is easily his highest of the year. Fannin has been consistently targeted when on the field. Um, he's been at 21% or above in 4 or 5 games, but he's not as safe a bet to be on the field. I do think they're probably both in play, but I agree with you. Like I've been pretty anti Njoku because it's like just a bet on routes and the targets just had not been there. But I agree that this quarterback change is helpful. I also think that okay, I generally agree with you about Gabriel. I think he's kind of a point guard type of guy. I was actually I wrote him up in a non-published piece because I was like, I got to start my write ups of the running backs, or I'm not going to finish in time, so I can't write up Dylan Gabriel. And I was going to do like more quarterbacks. I finished the Gabriel one. I was going to write up like more of the guys who like got drafted late, like Will Howard or whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing? Like, I don't have time to do this. So, but I published some of it in the London game article last week, which is free if people are curious on my Dylan Gabriel prospect thoughts. But I was like kind of into him, like, not as like,
And the Browns were clearly.
yeah, not as like, oh, this guy's gonna be awesome, but like as, hey, this guy starts for team for a couple years and has like a Minshew-esque run. Or he's like, yeah, he does, keeps things maybe like what Rattler's doing right now, like that kind of thing. And he actually performed well last week. His success rate was horrible, but the EPA was pretty good. And it was slightly negative, so it wasn't that great. But he's going against the Vikings defense, which is obviously a very tough assignment. And it was just like, get the ball out, which he did. Now he's going against the Steelers this week. Same assignment. They're going to be getting the ball out super quick.
Yep.
And he's got the second quickest time to throw this year. Small sample, but still, like that, it's the numbers really back up this idea. When you look at the Browns this season, when they've had throws on 2.5 seconds or less, they are targeting their top 3 targets are the running backs, are Dylan Sampson, Quinshon Judkins, and Jerome Ford. And then their next, actually, I think that's 1, 2, and 4. And then Harold Fannin has the 3rd highest targets per route run on quick throws, and David Njoku is 5th highest. So it's like very clear, right? Now, Dylan Sampson, I'm not saying he's gonna have a good game here or something, but it's like whatever running backs on the field and whatever tight ends are on the field are gonna get a lot of targets this week, I think. So as much as I hate to say it, I do think Njoku is a good play because I just want to play Fannin, but I think he's a good play. I think Fannin's in play. And I think Judkins is actually like kind of a sneaky play here.
He's just good. He's the best rookie running back, is he not?
I mean, Genty when he gets blocking.
Well, think about Judkins' 3 games: Lions, Packers, Vikings.
Yeah. No, he's good, man. He's good. I think he's a sneaky kind of pivot. Like if you want to go like, pivot off the Rico
Hilo
chalk.
brought him up too.
I
did my Wednesday show,
than,
he was tracking real
Michael
popular. Yeah, when I did the Wednesday show, he was tracking real popular, and then it's kind of tapered off throughout the week.
I think he might get lost, right? Like if you're if you're playing, why would you pay $100 more for Judkins? Just play Dowdle. You know, I think that's where people are going to be at.
But the
And obviously, it doesn't
volume's
save you any
there.
money, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
straight pivot for ownership.
I mean, dude, 19, 25, 24 touches against elite defenses.
And like, so one of the other things I noted on Judkins was that his route participation was way down last week, but he blocked more. So he was on the field for like a similar number of passing snaps as usual, which isn't a lot. He had 37% route participation in weeks 3 and 4, and then it dropped to 14%. But he had
Yeah,
six pass blocking snaps, which like you're against
which
the
makes sense
Vikings, they
against the
blitz
Vikings.
nonstop. Yeah. So I think it like basically like don't worry
He
about that.
also had a 40-yard touchdown called back in that game, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I mean, he looks good. He looks like
He's
legitimately
good.
really good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think he's fun. Jalen Warren going to be, probably back in a similar role, but Kenneth Gainwell was so good that I do wonder
And
if
it's
like,
Arthur Smith.
and it's Arthur Smith.
And Warren was bad before that. Like he was good in the pass game, but like as a
Right.
runner, he was real rough.
Yeah. And Gainwell was good. But the
So we
Browns
could
have an
see,
elite run defense.
and the Browns have an awesome run defense.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not that interested in Warren this
No,
week.
I'm not
More of
interested.
like,
The Steelers are boring. They're not throwing the ball downfield. They're not going to have Calvin Austin here. They still probably won't find a way to give DK Metcalf a bunch of targets.
do you know what DK Metcalf's targets per out run is against man? Which the
Oh,
Browns play?
this year it's terrible, right? Like, because his is like 9% or something, right? Like, because it used to be high.
You are so locked in.
Yeah,
It is 9%.
yeah. Like,
That's
it's.
correct.
I remember. I think because I looked it up earlier because the Browns play so much man. And I was like, well, DK's always torch man. I'm like, they're not even doing. They're like, what is Arthur Smith doing?
Yeah, he's at 0.71 yards per out run against man.
I mean, this often it's criminal activity. Aaron Rodgers has like a 4.5 yard ADOT. Like
Yeah.
this often,
I looked up his ADOT against man and it's like 6.3 or something. I was
he's
like,
averaging
damn.
4 yards per pass attempt against man coverage.
I was like, I pull up the ADOT. I'm like, oh shit. Like, okay, so he's actually throwing more shallow against man than normal, I guess. And then I was like, oh right, he has a 4.8 ADOT or whatever. Like he is actually he is going
He has
deeper, but
no interest in being tackled at this stage of his career.
none. None. Yeah. And they've got the Browns pass rush on tap. So the ball is coming out. So against man coverage, Jonnu Smith has a 22% 22% targets per route run. ADOT -2. Kenneth Gainwell at 28% targets per route run. ADOT -1.6. It just gets get the ball out of my hands, man. They're coming for me.
This is the most Steelers season 2 ever. Like the script, this is like they're gonna be 10-7, go to win the
Yeah.
division,
Yeah.
play like the Bills in round 1, and like
It's rough. I mean, so Metcalf has a 16.8 ADOT against man, so maybe there's some big plays. Also, Calvin Austin's going to be out, and
yeah,
Calvin Austin's been heavily targeted against man, and so maybe they just pepper
yeah,
him with targets because they don't have anybody else. But even Jonnu, I think is for this is more season long, but he was at 40% route participation last week because Darnell Washington was at 64%, which is part of a run heavy game plan probably. But I wouldn't touch Jonnu in any format basically. I just
no,
so the Steelers side is just gross. Warren is like a season long play. He's an RB2. It's
yeah,
fine.
and Metcalf is probably like a whatever wide receiver 3 still
Wide
too.
receiver
Like it's
3, yeah, high end wide receiver 3 probably.
But we're done with like the Judy stuff. You don't have to play Judy anymore. If you still have been.
Yeah, I don't want to play Judy.
No. I mean, even season long though, I'm like, gamers I'm sure drafted him and like we're riding it out, but no.
The one thing I would say about Judy is that his ADOT dropped last week to 9.7, which is maybe an okay sign because he's been ADOTs of 11.8, 13.4, 17, and 17.3. And now Isaiah Bond is in a full-time role and he's the deep threat.
Yeah.
So
And we're
maybe
still no
Judy,
Tillman.
still no Tillman. Yeah. So Judy could be more of an intermediate or shallow threat, which would be better for him and a better fit with Gabriel. I would wait until a week or two though. That's a theory of how Judy digs out. It's not a reason to play him this week, I don't think.
Yeah. The
All right.
Steelers are getting guys back too this week out of the bye defensively. Alex Highsmith's going to be back. They did lose Jalen Ramsey though.
Yeah, he's not playing this week.
Joey Porter Jr. looks like he's going to be back, but
Yeah, Joey Porter, I think is. I don't know if he's officially in, but it looked like he was good.
yeah, I think he's
the last
in.
time I checked. Okay. But yeah, let's
all
go
the ones,
to
right? We do all the 1 o'clocks. Yeah,
we did all the ones. Yeah,
hey, perfect.
Titans at Raiders.
Doing this.
Do you want to tout Cam Ward or should I?
No, yes, I did. Go ahead and tee us off. Listen, Hilo made the pitch. I want to hear yours now too. Like,
All right. So here's the pitch. So I was listening to Ali Connolly, who was breaking down the film on the Raiders defense, and he was like, "Look, they play like basically 2 versions of zone coverage.
yep,
It's all like the old Seattle stuff, and they only ever play man when they blitz." And I went and I looked, and I was like, you know what? Ollie's right. 81% clip of zone, 88% when they're not blitzing. But when blitzing, they play man at a 36% clip, which is reasonably high. And so they're like super predictable. And then they play the same types of coverages.
yep.
So that's obviously adds a predictable element as well. Then they also have this guy, Kayublu Kelly, who ranks 95th of 104 in PFF's coverage grades. And then I was telling you, I was looking at the primary yards allowed, and he has the 3rd highest rate of primary of yards allowed while he's in primary coverage. So teams are really picking on him as well. So there's a clear place to go with the ball for a quarterback who kind of, my thing with Ward is like, I'm a little bit worried he's got kind of Sam Howell disease where it's just like he hangs on that first read, right? And coming in, a lot of the reports on him is like, man, he's like, is he lackadaisical in the pocket or is he just super calm back there? Because he's just letting stuff develop. That's, I think, something he's going to need to work on, over the course of his career. But for this week, maybe it's not such a bad thing. Like he should have time because the Raiders don't have a great pass rush, even though Max Crosby leads all defensive linemen in snaps this year, and the Raiders still don't have a very good pass rush. Maybe he's exhausted. Maybe just let him get a breather, and But yeah, I mean they don't have much of a pass rush, and they're very predictable in coverage with a clear weak link. And so you've got a guy in Cam Ward that's trying to go to his first read nonstop. He has a 56% first read attempt rate. He's also though like taking sacks and plays are ending on his first read at a high rate. So it's like not gone well, but he is attempting to get the throws out there. He's like seeing it through. I think that approach could work better this week. And then Calvin Ridley is coming off a 24% first read target rate, which is a season high, 29% targets per out run.
In a week we didn't even know he was going to play.
I thought he was going to be, because he was at 42% route participation in week 4, so I thought he was going to be like banged up. But
I thought he was
out
traded.
there.
I thought they traded him. I was like, they got this.
Oh, really?
I was like,
yeah.
I
was about as anti Calvin Ridley as it's like, who cares if he plays kind of vibes last week, and I was super wrong about that. And I'm like, all right, you proved me wrong, and this is the matchup where I want the Titans' number 1 receiver, because he should have awesome favorable matchup at some points, and in generally an awesome matchup for the offense, where like Cam Ward has been really, really inefficient this year, but he's coming off his best mark of the season, 46th percentile mark in EPA per play against a middling Cardinals defense after having faced this year the Broncos, that was his first game. Broncos, elite pass rush, elite defense, then gets the Rams. That's a really tough assignment. Then he gets the Texans 2 weeks ago, elite pass rush there. And the Colts are a good defense. They don't have an elite pass rush, but they're a good defense. And the best game he's had has been the softest matchup. And now he gets like a much softer matchup than the Cardinals. So this is like, okay, if Ward, who was the number 1 overall pick, kind of for the fact that he has a bit of a ceiling, is like a downfield passer, he's got a little bit of mobility, takes chances. We've seen him flash that, and he hasn't put it together in a game, but he's flashed it. This is like, okay, maybe he's been kind of waiting for one of these super soft matchups to actually turn in a really productive game. Like I said, I'm not actually like playing Ward. I would probably be like some kind of draft game and a short slate thing. But Ridley, I think, is in play as a way to play. I tried to do this last week with Imanor. It did not work, but now I'm doing it again. I'm going to Ridley. I think he's kind of your only option. Gunnar Helm
Yeah.
splitting with Okonkwo, you can't really do that. So it would be playing it through Ridley, but I think he's in play.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think Ridley, and you know, it's a bummer when you have like these guys like a Shaheed or a Ridley, and they have a big game, and then the next week lines up because on the surface everyone's like, well, you're just running back what those
Right.
guys had a good game, and it's like, damn it, no, but it happened, but like it makes sense again, like
Yeah.
it's all here again, like all
But
we're
DFS
doing,
works like that sometimes. Like
yeah,
I,
it's
I
like
think the first no, I had a tournament lineup I won, and it was like it was very similar to a tournament lineup that Leone had played the week before. I was like, it's like one of those things that worked for Leone, it could work for me, and it did.
But a lot of
Um,
those cheaper guys, like people won't play because of that. They'll be like, "Well, I'm not going to play Shaheed. He was just good last week." Like and same thing.
yeah,
But I'm not going to play Ridley.
but
Like he's
sometimes good play, the good
all
plays
we
end
can
up in
do is
good spots
follow
2 weeks in a row.
all we can do is follow what the signal is, right? Like all
Yeah,
that's all we're doing, man. Like
I was
that's all
thinking
we're
for
doing.
myself. Okay, I wasn't copying Leone.
You know, we both marketed our articles terribly in terms of SEO, the worksheet and the walkthrough, but
Right.
the reason they're named that is for those reasons. Like we're showing the work in the worksheet how we got
Yeah.
here, and we're walking through like the steps that
Yes.
got us here. We're here. Like we're here. Like the Raiders on throws to wide receivers, 10 or more yards downfield. They're 26th in completion rate allowed. They've allowed 4 touchdowns on deep throws, 29th. And it's like this is where you would want Calvin Ridley. This is like
Yeah.
where you want him.
This is like, yeah, it's just one of those spots where when you have a
He's
team like the Titans,
4,900.
exactly, and it's not like people are going to play him. Like he's going to
No
be really
way.
low owned. So that's where like the box score chasing stuff to me. I'm like, yeah, I guess if like it was coming with a bunch of ownership, and it's like, oh, everyone's playing him because he went off last week. Well, like no one's playing him. Like no one. Like the Waddle one, like he'll be medium, but Ridley, like no one's touching him. So
Yeah,
I get
the
it for
site I
free, the
use right
box
now,
score.
and this is Friday afternoon, but the projected ownership large field for Calvin Ridley, 7.5%.
I would take the under.
Yeah. But you're still
So
getting a guy that has potentially a high ceiling and can get you a bonus.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, I mean, he's look, I mean, it's somewhat fragile
And you have
because
such a correlated mini stack here.
uh what are you going, Genty?
Yeah, with JT.
I thought maybe you meant Michael Mayer.
Oh,
Punt
yeah.
it.
I mean, you
it,
can. I'll never push back on anyone's tight end punt, and we're kind of in our first slate where the tight end punts are starting to creep in.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, Hunter Long, we
Yep,
didn't really touch on him, but like he's a
min
viable
price,
play.
min
Yeah,
price.
min
He's gonna be
price.
out there.
He's gonna be out there.
He's gonna be out there.
Um, but like with the Ridley stuff, I mean, Imanor, his profile is pretty similar to Ridley's. He's 19% target share. Ridley's at 23%. 18% targets per route run. Ridley's 21, 13% first read target rate. Ridley's now at 17. So that's actually decent enough gap. Kind of points to Ridley being the true number one, I would say. But there, this isn't like Ridley's not like dominating targets here. And so it
Right.
wouldn't surprise me if this whole thing fails and Imanor actually has a decent game, or it's spread out a little bit or whatever, or Ward just sucks again. But
He's a
so
tournament play.
he's a tournament play. But I do think he's a really strong tournament play.
But
If
you
he's
do
going to
have
be
to
sub
find some
5% ownership.
receivers. You do have to find some of those receivers this week on a site like DraftKings.
Yeah.
Just the way lineup construction is this week. We're not we for 5 weeks have been able to jam in kind of whoever we wanted
Yeah.
because dudes like
Like
even like
7,300 CMC or whatever. It's
right,
dumb.
like guys are
Yeah.
cheap. And it's
Yeah.
like now you have to take on some of these guys that are around 5K. That's why Chris Olave's project ownership so high is because it's like everyone's like, well, I know this dude's safe and he's 5'1".
Yeah. And that's never burned us.
No, yeah. Well, listen, yeah. I can tell you who I'm not playing in this game is Jacoby freaking Myers.
Hey, I was doing projections and Jacoby Myers.
The
It's funny.
optimal could give me Jacoby Myers for the rest of my life, but I ain't because also this is the prime spot for the Raiders to not have to let Geno Smith do anything.
Uh-huh.
And they definitely don't want to let Geno Smith do anything right now.
They really don't. They really don't.
It's been real bad, man. Systemic failure, top down on what the Raiders are doing as a pass game. And this is a prime spot for them to say, you know what, Geno, just hand off a bunch this game.
Yeah.
So that's why
Titans
I'm not going to
31st
chase
in
it.
DVOA against the run.
That's why I'm not
This is a good
chasing
spot.
Myers. I don't care that Bowers is out. I don't care. I think the Raiders are going to hand off a bunch of times to this game. And it's not even the Titans are bad against the run. It's the types of run. Like they're waking up absolutely dormant running games. Like 2 weeks ago, they allowed 181 yards to the Texans running backs. Last week, Michael Carter, Bam Knight, and dude, these guys had 178 yards and
They
2
cost
touchdowns.
me money because I thought Woody Marks was good.
Yeah. Buddy, like it's not like they're out here getting run over by Jonathan Taylor, which they did do that too, by the way. But it's like, look at the last 2 weeks. Look at who they're giving up fantasy points to.
Yeah, they're like Prometheus level. Yeah, like there's ancient alien civilizations waking up from slumber.
And when are we ever getting Janty as a home favorite the rest of the season?
That's a great point. Yeah, I kind of sneaky like this game environment where like maybe you do like a Genty Mayer Ridley thing, you know, where you have like this reminds me a little bit of like the Seahawks, like the Pete Carroll Seahawks. So it's like they're going to be able to do their thing. It's actually going to work. And then the other side is
of Chris Carson down your throat.
Chris Carson. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is a kind of one of those gross. So I understand like the high-low take of like, Ward being,
yeah.
Like if this was a different slate, I think. I mean, although the quarterbacks aren't on
No,
this slate,
it's literally
so I
a
guess it
pocket
is the
passer
right
slate.
slate for it.
He made a strong pitch at the salary. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I might do it in a 4 o'clock. Maybe I'll do it in the 4 p.m. only.
But at 4 p.m., you know what? I think maybe I will do a 4 p.m. only. I've been talking about draft game, but maybe it is. Maybe 4 p.m. only salary
I
cap.
know. Between doing shows with you and him, I mean, I might. This might be Millie Maker time. Might be Cam Ward Millie Maker time.
Maybe that. I mean, look. Like, here's the thing.
Everyone's gonna do it now. We brought it up.
Here's what I'll say. Like, and obviously it's football and it's never this clean, but I'll just say it. Cam Ward is either an absolute fucking bust, or he's going to have a pretty solid to good game here. Like this is the spot. Like if he can't do it here, he sucks. And I'm not sure that he sucks.
I'm not ready either. I'm not ready either to say.
But he might not suck. He might be good. I wasn't that big a fan of him as a prospect, but I thought, hey, this guy's going number one. The film like backs up the idea that he has a seal. Like the thing that people like about him on film is actually like really interesting for fantasy. That he's like an aggressive downfield passer. He's got a good deep ball. He's like somewhat mobile. He can do some things that we like, and so this is the spot for him to prove that evaluation correct, I would say. And I think one way or another, we should figure out a way to bet on it. Maybe Millie Maker. Maybe the Millie Maker is. Yeah. Do they have like a
we all can't
quarter Millie Maker? Do they do? Is it the jukebox? Maybe it's a jukebox play.
Listen, we all can't split the Millie Maker.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Not the 555 Millie Maker. Not that one. But
yeah, we're not. Yeah, I'm not ready to lose that money on Cam Ward.
No.
Well, although like when you set a Millie Maker lineup, you expect to lose, and I think you used the phrase week 1 when I did the show. It's like at least we're going to lose in a predictable fashion.
That's what it is. Well, that didn't work, but I knew it would.
Calvin Ridley and Cam Ward. What could go wrong?
Yeah, you can't say I'm not taking on enough risk. You got to give me that. All right, let's go to the next game, which is the Bengals at Packers. This is at 4:25. We only have three late window games. I really hope the Titans one has at least a little juice because we got the Bengals with Joe Flacco as one of our other games, and there's only 3 of them. Joe Flacco sucked ass against the Packers. I would like it to be recognized. Seems like the fact that they won is deflected a little bit from that. But he was 8th percentile in success rate and 20th percentile in EPA per play. I don't think he's going to be a magic elixir for this offense in any way. Packers are going to be without one of their interior pass rushers, it looks like, but obviously they still have Micah Parsons. So this is a pretty rough spot for Flacco and the boys. What jumps out to you from this game?
Yeah, last week I was into the Bengals kind of flop lag stuff coming off of the Broncos game with just the injuries the Lions had, and it was rough until the 4th quarter. We ended up getting there, with Jason and some Browning stuff, but this week I'm not going back to the well, and I know that there's probably some level of excitement, and I do think Flacco's probably an upgrade over Browning, but I think it's so marginal that it just doesn't move the needle on a lot of these guys.
I'm not
For
sure that it is. Like, I really am not sure. And Browning sucks.
I think
Browning's
Browning's
so
so
bad.
bad that it probably isn't, because I think Flacco does throw a better deep ball than Browning does, but I don't. You still have to have pass protect. You still have to pass protect to set
Yeah.
those up. It's like
Here's where we're at right now. This is Browning EPA per game, and Joe Flacco
well,
is
one of those
the
guys had
bottom of the
Jamar
30.
Chase.
One of those guys had Jamar Chase, but both of them play behind horrendous offensive
Yeah.
lines. So, like, if your case for Flacco is at all related to the Browns' offensive line, it's probably better than the
Oh
Bengals,
yeah.
who are down a guy as well this
He
week.
was
I think their left guard is
Flacco actually was pressured at a higher rate than Browning this year.
so awful. Well, it's not, yeah. And then this week,
And some of that is conducive because Flacco does want to push the ball more. Like then Browning's just like, I guess we got to get out of his hands. Like
that's true. Yeah, I mean, and he has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, so
but I just have
that should
such
help.
respect for this Packers defense, man. And like,
Me too.
and I know people will talk about the last time we seen him, the Dak was on such a heater. Like they were actually good defensively in that game until Dak just caught fire,
Dak's
man.
good.
Like, and
Dak's good.
I just have a hard time for seeing this Bengals setup being the kind of like have them having answers for this Packers defense.
Yeah, it's really rough. The Packers don't blitz, and they're 8th in pressure rate. Their second lowest blitz rate. They're 8th in pressure rate. It's going to be this is like,
and those are always
game,
the matchups. Like if you can get pressure with 4,
yeah.
I mean you're probably a good defense.
Yep. And you look at the Packers side. I mean, okay, so they lose to the Browns, inexcusable, and then they tie with the Cowboys. All ties are inexcusable, and you go into the bye, and then you're like, all right, they're gonna come out of the bye. They're gonna like have changed. They're gonna have learned the errors of their ways. But no, I don't think they have. I think they're gonna come out here and just pound Josh Jacobs and get an easy win.
Probably.
I don't think they're gonna like lean on Jordan Love. And
Well, early they probably will, but then
early,
how much
sure,
do you get?
yeah, but even early, like, are we gonna get them being aggressive, or are we just gonna get them like passing?
They
like
are early in
at a normal rate?
games, and then when they're ahead, they just turtle.
Yeah,
Some great stuff here for Jordan Love if you believe that Flacco is going to provide any type of resistance or pushback. So Jordan Love right now is 4th in the NFL in yards per pass attempt, 6th in touchdown rate, and that's while being pressured at the 6th highest rate. From a clean pocket, he leads the NFL in completion rate. He leads the NFL in yards per pass attempt. He has a 10% touchdown rate when in clean pocket. That's 3rd. And that's relevant here for a couple of reasons. One, the Packers are getting Zach Tom back, the right tackle. He's only played 30 snaps this year. They're also getting Aaron Banks back. So 2 offensive linemen are healthy. And then the Bengals don't get any pressure. They're like the Raiders, right? Like they have one good guy on their defensive line. And we'll see if Shamar Stewart coming back changes that. But like, Trey Hendrickson is their Max Crosby.
yeah,
That's it. But like that guy doesn't get pressure. Good luck. But they're 29th in pressure rate. And when they don't get pressure on the quarterback, they're 24th in yards per pass attempt, 23rd in touchdown allowed. So there is some stuff here for Love, but like we talk about the Colts too, like you need that pushback because in the second half of games, the Green Bay Packers are dead last in dropback rate. And you know what matters for getting those linemen back? Josh Jacobs too. So he's been really inefficient to open the year, but they've been missing 2 starting offensive linemen. Like he's averaging 0.35 yards before contact per rush. That's 41st in the NFL. So, but the workload's still there, 20 touches every game. He's the RB3 in expected points per game. He's getting 2 linemen back. He's facing this Bengals team that is allowed 8 touchdowns to running backs. They're allowing 170 total yards a game to running backs. So it just looks like a wheels up Josh Jacobs spot.
Totally. The Bengals are kind of funny because they're like the flip side of the Packers, where they also don't really blitz, but they don't get pressure.
No,
so it's like, hey, maybe blitz, but they're dead last in EPA per blitz dropback. So
they did the thing we talked about. Big
bad.
Lou was the dude who fell on the sword last year.
Yep.
Like you have to fire someone, Zach. All right, Lou, sorry. And then Lou goes to the Colts.
See, maybe the problem is letting Zach pick who to fire because he's not going to pick Zach.
Right. Well, hey, you gotta get rid of one of them.
Yeah.
And it's funny
Yeah.
because we know, like, in our heart of hearts, like, Lou Anarumo is a pretty good defensive coach. Like, his body of
He's
work
having a
outside
good
of
year
last
this year.
out and yeah, but he had to be the fall guy, and they bring in Al Golden, and it's like, oh, he couldn't wave a magic wand on this defense either. Like,
Yeah.
who knew?
Yeah. No, I mean, this has been kind of best case scenario for Lou. Like reputationally,
Yeah,
you leave
oh,
this
absolutely.
Bengals
And it's
defense in
gonna
someone
be for
else's
Mike
hands, and then
McDaniel. When Mike McDaniel gets fired, he's gonna have a non-Tua quarterback probably. Walk into a job where he's an offensive coordinator in
oh
some
my
good ass
god.
spot, and then Tua's gonna be with an offensive coordinator that can't max out what Tua's not good at, and then we're gonna be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The post Mike
McDaniel ends up as
McDaniel
like the OC
Tua.
of the Rams or something for a year and
Yeah, he'll
rehabs
just
that way.
take Davis was like Davis tried to pitch me that he'd take Matt Nagy's job, and I was like, "Come on, man! Like, you can't just put everyone on the Chiefs." Like, but Mike McDaniel will have an offensive coordinator job tomorrow if he was fired today.
Oh, for
Like,
sure. For sure.
like,
Well, I mean, he's like connected to that whole tree and he's good. It's a
and
little gimmicky,
I
I
am
guess, but it's
terrified
good.
to see what Tua looks like without Mike McDaniel.
It's bad, man. It's really it's quite bad. I know what it looks like in my heart, and you don't want to see
It's a bummer because
it.
all Dolphins fan they want these guys fired, but it's like, dude, like you were saddled with a big
No.
ass Tua contract post Mike McDaniel.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta get Mike to take Tua with him somehow. That's the only way you're gonna be happy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Somehow we turned this Packers game into a Mike McDaniel rant, but it happens
uh,
sometimes.
but I agree. Like with the Packers, I mean, I think Love is in play here as a bet on efficiency and this horrible defense. I don't love Kraft, who's kind of coming in as somewhat chalky. He's 4,700. I like strongly prefer Tyler Warren to Kraft this week. Uh, and Kraft, I mean, if Kraft was like a low owned pivot, sure, but it looks like he'll get a little bit ownership. And I don't know, man, like his efficiency is driving things so much, and I'm worried about the volume here for this passing game. And so, like, yeah, he could be really efficient. He's really good, but he's been insanely efficient this year, like in fantasy points over expected and yards per target. Um, totally unsustainable stuff.
Well,
So
he's George Kittle, so I don't know.
I mean, even if he is George Kittle, he's averaging 3.4 fantasy points over expected per game. His yards per target is 4.6 yards higher than you'd expect for his A dot because his A dot's only 5.2. He's a shallow target guy,
But
but
he's a yak monster.
yak, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's why the Kittle comps come
but
from.
even the yak, it's not
You
this
know what's
good.
funny too is how much better would he look over expectation? He had the last time we saw him, he had the touchdown reversed at the one, and he had another play where he got tackled at the one.
Yeah, yeah. No, he'd be like, I feel like 9 fantasy points over expected or something. Yeah.
I'm pretty neutral on him and Warren because I think they both in this because I think they both have similar layouts where like they have to probably get there on efficiency over volume because we're not counting on a lot of pushback from either team. And
I think the Cardinals will
Kraft's
push
Matt.
back like a little bit more though, right? Like
Yeah, but I think that matchup's probably a little better for Kraft than it is for Warren, although
it
it's still
is. It's
good.
definitely better. But
But
I just like the Bengals might just like turtle. Like
I
this
think
this could be
I
over in
think
the
both
second
guys
quarter.
get like 8 targets.
Maybe, yeah. I guess I could see that.
I think it's pretty similar. So like I don't have a problem. Like if you like Warren more, I think it's fine. I'm kind of like I have them both like kind of tight. Um, but I'm really high on Love's stuff though. If like we do just somehow get any sort of competitive game or the Packers want to let Jordan Love cook. It looks like
Which
just
I'm skeptical of, but I shouldn't
which I
rule
am
it out.
too. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I am also. I think it's
It
definitely
would
Josh
make
Jacobs is the
sense to
best
do it.
play.
Yeah, Jacobs is the best play by far. Jacobs is like good chalk. Like
And he
20%
probably
on
won't even be
Jacobs is fine.
chalky.
You don't think?
No, I think he'll be like mid range. I don't think he's gonna be low owned either, but I think again, Dowdle's gonna be the most popular guy by default.
Yeah.
Just like salary and what you fit in. And I just still think people are gonna want to play one of McCaffrey, probably McCaffrey or Taylor. So those two guys just suck up so much of your space that it's really hard to say like you're gonna pay for another 7K running back. But we'll have
Hmm.
to see how it checks in. I don't think he's going to be ignored either. I just think he's going to be like around like where Achan and Kyron are like, and Javante. Like, I think that tier is going to be pretty flat this week because people are going to have their preferences of those
Right.
guys.
I'm not sure that Taylor ends up being like super chalky, to be honest, because
No, I think McCaffrey will have more.
McCaffrey.
He'll be more popular than Taylor, but we're gonna have, like I said, that
McCaffrey's the
tier
one where
guys.
you're like, you would just want to like preload. If you're like preloading lineups, you just want them to have McCaffrey and Puka right now. Like 2 weeks ago, I had like an okay sweat going and I had Genty, and obviously he went
In the
off.
Bears game.
Yeah, and I'm all excited. And it's like, but I didn't have McCaffrey or Puka. I was just like, what was the point of playing this week if I didn't? Why have a good team without Puka? This is stupid.
Yeah. No. On DraftKings, especially, McCaffrey is going to still get juice, and we'll get there too. But
Yeah.
I just think that one little pocket of guys, those 4 guys I named, I actually include Jainty in that too. So it's a pocket of 5 guys, like, are all going to kind of cannibalize each other a little bit because people are going to have their preferences of Jacobs, Jainty,
Yeah.
Kyron, Javante.
To your point about this being the first real DFS week, I haven't really felt like the need to be like as like super dialed on like where sentiment is, because it felt like more about like building good lineups than
because you could
like,
do what you wanted.
yeah, you could do what you wanted, yeah. But this week, like as you're describing this, I'm like, man, I really want to be on top of where the late movement is, because I don't really care. I don't really care. Like, tell me who to play between Dowdle and Javante and Jacobs and these other Genty. Like, I don't really care. They're all good plays.
Yes.
So tell me which one is an awesome play, and I'll play that guy because you guys all didn't play him, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna try to. I wouldn't want to be like leading the charge here on the Steam. I'd want to just be like, which guy gets squeezed, and that's my favorite.
That's exactly how I feel about it too. I think all these guys, all those guys we just rattled off are, and I would include Judkins in that group too, are all just really good.
Yeah.
Are all just really good plays in that same point. And we still have one more guy that's not priced around there, in Rashad White, that is at least intriguing.
Yeah, no, I think he deserves to be in that conversation though.
That's why I wonder if this week is the week to not, if you can just play 3 of those guys from that same group. But again, then you're not playing McCaffrey in that sense, and you're just terrified.
Yeah.
In the heart of darkness.
McCaffrey could, like, he's comes preloaded with like 20 points. So then it's like, does he get in the end zone?
He's the wide or the running back 34 in rushing points per game, and he's a wide receiver 6 in receiving points per game.
That's crazy. McCaffrey, last week I pulled this up. It was I referenced this for Rashad White actually, because he had 19 expected points last week. I was like, oh, that's a pretty good workload. Like Achane was at 19.2. Kyron Williams and Jonathan Taylor were about 26 each. Christian McCaffrey had an expected points workload of 32.4 points. That's insane.
And I thought coming into that Thursday game, like, man, do they even kind of punt this game? Like, everyone's out. Like, are they going to try to reduce his workload? Nope.
Kyle Shanahan can't help himself. Anytime his dudes, like, and I would I guess we're kind of transitioning over to anything on that game on the
did you have anything else for did you have anything else?
I don't think I really did. Chase is good enough to get there with anybody, as he proved last week. So all of my negativity about the Bengals doesn't really apply to Chase. He's still a wide receiver 1 and everything, but
I will say Flacco's
probably
I think big picture Flacco's probably good for Higgins if you're in season long, just because he'll probably give Higgins more chances to do Higgins stuff, like,
I agree,
to win. But this matchup, I'm just not. I just have too much respect for the Packers defense, I think, here.
I agree. All right, on the 49ers side, the point I was about to make was the Jennings, if he plays, and he was limited Thursday. I don't know if we have a report yet, but if he goes, like, I think he's gonna play. Like, I've yet to see Shanahan like manage someone.
He is practicing right now. As of 14 minutes ago, he is practicing.
So I think Jennings is kind of an interesting play. I don't know. I
was anytime we saw it with Bourne,
get to him or not, but
you saw it with Bourne. Whoever's like the dude standing.
The last guy standing. I mean, and
it's what we talked about Mike McDaniel. Like, Kyle Shanahan's shown, like, he'll get the guys the football. The guys available that are the best, he will get them the football.
Yes, that's what he does. That's what he does. And I mean, I guess what does this do for you? Let's assume that Jennings does play, maybe we should talk about it both ways. But what are your thoughts on Kendrick Bourne?
Well, if Jennings plays, I'll probably be not into him as much. I think it'll be Jennings and CMC, and then maybe some Tonjes stuff. Maybe I think Tonjes would be the third guy in this matchup. It would be CMC, Jennings, and then maybe some Kendrick Bourne stuff. Looks like Jamil Dean's going to be back for the Bucks.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, which is a big deal. Looks like he's going to be playing. He practiced both days too, so yeah, I would probably be not into him because he's also more expensive than Calvin Ridley, who we talked about.
Who was Bourne?
Yeah,
yeah.
So I mean,
that's so funny.
I think he goes back to being kind of just like a tertiary ancillary guy.
I agree. But yeah, I think Jennings is someone, if he goes, I think he's actually cheaper.
Also,
Bourne.
this matchup is kind of scary for the passing game. For like
Dean being back is not great for the passing game.
Well, I'm worried about the last two Mac Jones starts, and we're assuming Mac Jones is starting here.
I think they said he is.
Yeah, he's faced two really passive defenses, the Cardinals and the Rams. I mean, Todd Bowles is going to give him something he hasn't seen these last 2 weeks. Buccaneers 6th in blitz rate, and not only are the Bucks a high blitz rate team, they blitz effectively. Their blitzes generate pressure at the third highest rate in the league. Over 53% of their blitzes get pressure. Mac Jones has only been blitzed so far in 18% of his dropbacks. Again, small sample in the matchups he played, two teams that don't really blitz. But last year, these teams played, and Todd Bowles blitzed Brock Purdy's face off 44% of the time. This, again, small sample stuff, but
which is kind of what you do.
Yeah.
Purdy gets blitzed a lot, but he's good against it. It's kind of
thing. Mac Jones, though, small sample this year, 28th in completion rate against the blitz, 29th in yards per pass attempt against the blitz, 30th in yards per completion against the blitz. When he's been pressured at all, he's 25th in yards per pass attempt. So I think this is kind of a scarier spot. Now, you're not scared for CMC because if they're blitzing a lot, it's just going to be quick passing.
Right.
And I'm not necessarily scared for Jennings because of the scheme stuff, but top down, I don't know if it's like a full run out game for the 49ers to the degree we've seen Mac Jones have. I think it's more of like, I think this game in more median outcomes is like a 23-20 game or like a 20-17 game or like something like that. Instead of a full run out. If we get this game to pop, it has to be, I think, through the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers have to be the side that makes this pop.
This is a good pumpkin patch late slate, right? This is a good little afternoon excursion. You're not gonna miss a ton if you 4:00 you get out there, go do something.
Unless you're playing Cam Ward.
Unless you have Cam Ward vomit stacks, in which case keep that red zone going. They won't be on it much. You might have to.
That's because he's skipping the red zone. He's throwing bombs.
You're gonna see. The only time you'll see the Titans on red zone is when Scott Hansen's like, "All right, let's check in on the Titans. Definitely live, and not something that happened 10 seconds ago." And it's either gonna be a pick or a touchdown. All right, Jake Tongas, you mentioned him as like kind of a semi-interesting guy. I was gonna second that. He was up to 80% round participation last week, 25% targets per out run. I think he's like in tight end 2 territory, nothing crazy, but a little bit more viable than he's been, where his route participation has been in the 60s mostly. So seeing him at 80 helps. And then on the Bucs side, I agree. I think they're gonna probably need to drive things. The one thing, like I've mentioned, I think Dean being back is big. One reason is because they blitz, and then they have this dude Vildor was their cornerback that he's replacing now. He looked like a legitimate liability. So you have this like potential where like they're blitzing, and then Mac Jones is able to beat the blitz because they have this weak spot in coverage. But if Dean's back, now they're just like a really sound blitzing team, and so that is concerning. Not for CMC, I agree with that, and probably not for Jennings because targets got to go somewhere.
Right.
But I don't know. I'm probably not that interested in Kendrick Bourne either way. See, we're not box score chasing. Okay. We're thinking about the matchups. Rashad White, got a lot of the work. Any concerns about Sean Tucker? Seemed to be pretty overblown. He got big snap rate, plenty of carries. And then Chris Godwin will be out for this game. So it's like Emeka Buka, I guess Tez Johnson, Sterling Shepard is your three receivers.
Yeah.
And Baker's playing out of his mind right now. So
Jesus, dude.
he's a little interesting, I think.
That's why I said if you're thinking that this game does pop, I think you have to play it through like Baker, Igbuka, maybe even White could be included in those stacks. The fun thing about this game is it's kind of the Spider-Man meme, right? Rashad White and Christian McCaffrey, not very efficient runners, good pass catchers.
No, come on, man.
No, I mean that like it's literally like if it's like the babushka doll, it's like Rashad White's like the center of it, and then like but again, they're both playing defenses.
It's just this tiny little doll.
Yeah, it's just a tiny. Then you get, you probably just like blossom out, and then you have like I don't know, like who would be next. Then you get to like H-Han and CMC, like
yeah. Well, I think if you open up like Rashad White's one, there's like a tiny little like Mike Davis from Carolina in there.
But you have two teams that don't really run the football well, anyways. Structurally,
right.
like top down. But then you have two guys that can be utilized in the pass game, and they're both facing defenses that are good against the run but bad against receiving backs. It's like kind of like a little Spider-Man mirror here. Like,
yeah.
So I think you can play Baker, White, and Igbuka if you think they drive it. I think Shepard's mildly interesting because the 49ers have been so bad against slot receivers, but I would rather do like something with White than Shepard. I don't think he's necessary. I definitely don't want to do K. Dotton because
won't Tez be the slot?
Well, they'll do the thing where in like 3 wide receiver sets, Tez will be the slot, and then you'll get like kind of that rotation. But Sterling Shepard will be like this second guy. So K. Dotton not against Fred Warner, not doing it. So it would be something like that, like Igbuka, White, Baker, and then CMC Jennings. Like you would have to do something like that. I'm not doing Mac Jones. Is basically what I got to.
Yeah. Does your take on, I mean, I know we said it doesn't hurt CMC, like don't worry, CMC is still going to get there, but like CMC is going to be huge chalk this week. Mm-hmm. Like do you have from that perspective, do you have any worries about CMC?
Well, I just brought up the walking through some of the angles of like if you're like a cash game player, you just play CMC, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
But I do wonder if on this particular slate, like it is more optimal to play like 3 guys out of that pocket of guys that we talked about. Like we've kind of keep talking about.
Yeah.
If the proper build is like 3 of those dudes and JSN and Igbuka.
If you were only allowed to play one of Puka or CMC, who would you play?
I would play McCaffrey this week.
Okay.
Because I not even necessarily the weather stuff, but the stuff we talk about. I worry about the Rams getting pushed, and not that Puka's not going to be fine, but I think at Puka at his salary, if he has 9 for 100, you're not getting shadow realmed at his salary.
No.
So I think with CMC though, like the 49ers are going to need CMC to win this football game still. So
that's true. No, they definitely will. Yeah.
So that's like where I'm breaking. That's where I'm breaking those ties. That's not me saying don't play Puka Nacua.
No,
like,
I know.
It's just me splitting the hairs. Of
those are like the 2, like just the comfiest plays of all time. So I was curious which guy you prefer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Ibuka, where do you stand on him? Where like there's kind of like a little bit of
holy
like
war. There's a holy war.
war.
You could say there's an actual like Mecha Ibuka holy war going on right now.
I try to stay off social media to some extent, so I actually didn't know it reached holy war status. But
did you know he's never been open this year? Have you heard?
He's 4th percentile on open score, man. I was going to mention it. It's bad. It's pretty bad, but he's also got 2.49 yards per out run, and he's targeted heavily.
I remember Gretsch was talking about Harold Fannin about not being able to run. He was like, "It's pretty crazy that the dude that had the most yards can't run." It's like how I feel about Ibuka. It's like it's pretty crazy that this dude has never been open, but yet he
gets targeted repeatedly and then runs after the catch. Yeah,
it does show up. He does. I mean, he against man coverage 0.60 yards per out run. With or without Mike Evans, but he's facing Robert Saleh from the Vic Fangio tree. They don't play man coverage. They're going to play a ton of quarters. Yeah. And Igbuka leads the NFL in receiving yards against quarters this year, 4.5 yards.
Also,
per
if like a team plays a third of man, it's a lot.
Correct. So, like, and we try to stress that too. I think you and I brought it up a while ago when we talked about some of this coverage split stuff when we were bringing it up. It's like remember a lot of man coverage, the highest teams are running it like 40% of the time. And you think about from like a route perspective, an average NFL receiver is running 30 to 35 routes per game. And if you're reducing that down to 40%, really like league average is like 25-30%, you're talking 10 routes a game.
Right.
So like we're just reducing sample and sample. It's like, oh man, without Mike Evans, all I know is this dude has a 27% target share. They have no other up bodies on the field. I'm pretty sure they're going to throw to him a lot here too.
I'm pretty sure they're going to throw to him a lot here too. Yeah. Yeah. I've been like more on the underlying stats actually aren't that great side of the Holy War, but I think more from like
I think season long it matters because you're going to get Evans back.
It's like,
You're going to
hey,
get Evans back.
Right. Let's keep our heads here.
He's
guys.
living his
like,
best fantasy life right now. You know, sometimes rookies like we catch the we always want rookies for that end of season run, like Brian Thomas last year, a worthy lad. Igbuka's having it up front. I think he's
and maybe it never stops. Maybe
it never stops. But I do think Evans is going to come back and be a target earner.
I do too.
I think that's where you would care. Maybe some of the season long stuff. I've seen some pretty great Igbuka trades where he's been flipped for some like really lofty dudes. So I'm open to that. I'm not saying you have to sell him. I'm just curious if like you can really actually get some of these like really front running wide receivers. Like I've seen him flip for Justin Jefferson.
Wow.
You know, like, yeah, in these trades. So like, I think if you can get that level, like I'm saying, you don't have to sell, but like if you're able to
you can get Jamar Chase plus.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth exploring if
it's
that
worth
game.
Exploring.
Yeah. Especially because those gamers in your league, like the gamer that has Jamar Chase also might be 2-3 or 1-4. And you might check that. Justin Jefferson's on bye this week. Hey, what's your record with Justin Jefferson? He's not in your lineup this week. Would you like a Emeka Egbuka in your lineup? Probably do. like I understand.
Emeka Egbuka is actually not. That's one of those pieces. It's like a sell high thing, but he's been so exciting and he's like set up for so many targets this week, and it's a pretty good game environment on the Tampa Bay side, where it doesn't feel like a big fu to your prospective trade partner, where they're like, yeah, I would like Emeka Egbuka. He's really good.
Absolutely. But
yeah. So maybe that's what. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm not going to do the anti Emeka Egbuka case this week. Like, I'm not going to do it. He's a low end wide receiver 1 is how I have him ranked. You know, I guess you could say maybe he should be like just a regular old wide receiver 1. Maybe I'm low in that sense, but it's like he's a really good play.
Well, also ranking
a ton of targets. I also thought Godwin was playing when I wrote this up, so I might raise him more to a regular.
But you do like rankings for the site, right?
Yeah.
Nothing has been more fluid this season than wide receiver rankings, right? Like especially wide receiver 1.
It's true. Yeah.
So like, yeah. I mean,
JSN was like, was like, oh, you know, JSN looking like gonna be, and it's like JSN's like the wide receiver 2 now. You know, like
overall,
overall.
Well, even some of those guys we mentioned where it's like Diggs and like you might have like you're like, all right, well, like I'm gonna have some tepid reservations, and then when you have to start doing rankings and put these guys in a linear order, you're like, oh shit. You're like, oh yeah. We talked about Jalen Waddle. I have Jalen Waddle wide receiver 9. Like
I think I have him. I might have him in the same spot.
And it's like you try to have some reservation. Like it's like we have to start listing these dudes actually out. What we have for available.
I have him 10.
Yeah, so
like I have Egbuka 1 spot ahead. I think I'm gonna raise him.
So where we have to put these guys, like nothing's been more fluid because like when you look at running back rankings, it still largely looks close to it resembles ADP to a degree.
Yeah.
Same thing with quarterback. Wide receivers,
you know, this guy.
Yeah. But wide receiver is blown the fuck up right now. It is.
Yeah, I have George Pickens wide receiver 6 this week.
Yeah. I mean, it's all these guys. Yeah, I mean, Adams top. Rome. Shit, I have Rome. Rome is fucking a lot.
Yeah. I have Rome down at 15, but he's still.
But it's like, it is. But it is blown up, man.
I have Diggs 13th right now.
Yeah, I'm 14. So yeah, I'm 14 right there, man. Yeah. Again, it's because when I always do my rankings after I do the write ups because I don't want my rankings to dictate my write up.
Right.
But
I do it as what I do. I tier them as I'm going. So I go, and then I like go back later and I get them.
I want to have just fresh. This is how I feel about the player and the game environment. And that's how I write it up.
Yeah.
And then when you have to start putting these guys in order, you like a linear list. It's like, then you start to see some like, oh yeah. Like, so like, I'm like, yeah, this dude's a strong wide receiver too. And I'm like, oh my God. Like he's like wide receiver. Like he's like,
I'm out of like, yeah. Where you go like, oh, this guy's like a high end wide receiver 3. And then I'm like 16 receivers deep. And I'm like, let's bring in those high end wide receiver threes because I'm wide receiver
Fire
two.
in, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think that's still like, but I think that's the difference of the way rankings are consumed and presented versus like an actual thought process of like what we do. Because I still do, it doesn't change my expectations for the player because I have to rank a guy higher. It's just
I've
like
been
you have to
doing.
put this.
I added tiers a couple weeks ago, and I think it's made. I hope it's helping people because it helps like across. I just don't. I do position by position, not like overall. So it should help with like breaking ties on flexes and stuff. But it's been like huge for me just to like do the rankings better. Where it keeps you like I have to have this guy at like 16th, but like he's not like a high end wide receiver 2 or whatever. He's like a low end, but I
And
ran
also
out of guys.
rosters league to league, the variance of rosters, like what people actually have rostered is so different. That doesn't really show up in rankings as well versus like an expectation when you say like, oh, this guy is like a strong wide receiver 3. He might be on a roster where like it looks like the rankings, but he also might be on a roster where like he's a wide receiver 4 on a roster still.
Totally.
It's why
Yeah.
people do these dumbass arguments of like, oh, I guess zero RB is dead, or like, well, this was the way. It's like, no, dude, every iteration of roster, because there's like tons of mid-range running back hits this year, but every roster is different. Like, so it's weird that we get into these types of arguments. It's the way fantasy football is presented to is like and consumed is still like such a disconnect versus like, hey man, no, this is like really how like from an expectation level you should be thinking about this. And then if it doesn't fit your roster, it's so be it. But like, it's
but it's so true. Like having a guy ranked like wide receiver 13 sounds like, oh man, but it might not mean that much.
Correct.
Just because of that week. Like I have Flowers wide receiver 14, but I have him in the same tier as Keenan Allen, who I have at wide receiver 22. So it's it's not a great week. If you need wide receiver 2s this week, it's not a great week.
It's just wide open.
Yeah. Anything else on? Do you have any interest? I guess we touched briefly on Shepard and Tez, but like from a DFS perspective, they're both pretty cheap. Tez is really cheap. Tez is like 30 something, 3,200. Sterling's 38. They would open some stuff up, and we've mentioned like, oh, it's tougher to play the high end guys this week. One thing would be to play more of the mid range guys, but we could do a stars and scrubs stuff now that Godwin's out and play it through Tampa Bay, and maybe stack Baker with some of these guys.
I'm interested if you do it. Yeah, with Baker Mayfield, not as an a la carte punt. I don't think as much.
I agree.
Just because you're banking on then this game, the Bucks driving this game.
Yeah,
that's my thing. I really feel like if this game, because I really feel if the 49ers can win this game 17-13, they will absolutely do that. If this game's going to pop, I think the Bucks have to be the catalyst to drive it.
But I kind of trust the Bucks.
I mean, dude, how could you not? This dude, he's Baker Mayfield is literally like Wolverine. Like this month, you can like this guy. It's because it's not that he keeps doing it. It's that it's different every week.
Yeah.
Like 1 week he'll run for 60 yards. You're like, where the fuck did that come from? And then 1 week he'll be like, I had a 50% completion rate, but I threw 4 touchdowns. And then like last week, he's like, what if I just don't miss a pass? Like, it's just like, dude, it's just like the dude just finds a way like every week.
He's awesome. What was the week where he got like absolutely smoked on a hit, and then he like it looked like he was going to be like kind of hurt, and then he got up and like just talked shit. Game. Yeah, and it just like that's the Wolverine. Like he literally
like, this dude. And did you see like isn't he like top 5 in like missed tackles forced like per carry?
Because
like
man, that's hilarious.
He's a demon, dude. Like he's an absolute demon. And I remember early career, like people hated Baker because they like he even had the quote this week. Did you see a quote from him? Like
no.
They were like, you're so like you're full of moxie or something. He's like, yeah, well, people said it early in my career that I was just arrogant, and that was like it's like funny how the narrative changes. And then he had all those progressive commercials, and people were mad at him. But like,
he's like actually a pretty good commercial actor. You got to give him.
He's a fun ass football player though. Like, who doesn't enjoy watching him play? Like, he's fun as hell.
And like this dude was almost out of the league. Like, it's crazy.
I tweeted the same picture that people have done. The Darnold Baker picture during the game, but they're on the Panthers. Like, I gotta pull this back out because he's either dealing. Like, it's like,
yeah, man, it's like the league is so much more fun with Baker. Like, if it's not Baker, we'd be dealing with like I would know it wouldn't actually be Kyle Trask, but like it might not be much better. So It's always nice to have good quarterback play from someone fun. So
I
we
just want to
appreciate you,
see
Baker.
something real quick before we wrap this up because someone in our Slack is talking about the Jaden Blue. So I just want to make sure nothing happened to Javonte Williams while we were on the air.
It's probably just that Sanders is hurt.
Oh no, yeah, Sanders is missing the rest of the year. All right.
Oh, okay.
He's out the remainder of the season. Not even IR, just done.
Jeez.
So I guess you do have like a Phil Maffa FFPC bid to make or a Jaden Blue FFPC bid because these guys all get picked up.
Blue's probably owned.
He's
I
probably
think.
rostered. He's probably
Yeah.
rostered.
But yeah, maybe it's Phil Moffitt. Oh, isn't he on IR though or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just literally saying Cowboys dudes I knew who they were. Like,
yeah. All right. I think
That's it,
on the now that we've reached the Phil Moffitt portion of the program,
I
think
wanted to
we
make
can
sure
wrap
because
it up.
someone like blew it up and I was like, wait, did something happen to Javonte Williams? Like,
And that would be big. Much bigger than I would have thought. All right. That'll do it. Tell the people what you got going on at Sharp Football Analysis.
yeah, sharpfootballanalysis.com. Check that out. If we somehow did not talk about a player you didn't that you wanted us to hear, I did write him up in the worksheet. So go ahead and check that out. It's been genuinely fun. If you made this portion of the show, the people that have listened to this the first 4 weeks we've done it, and the response has been great. It's been fun to do this. I've always wanted to do something with Pat, so it's been fun.
Yeah, me too.
I've enjoyed these conversations. So it's been great, man.
Yeah, this has been awesome. I'm excited the response has been as positive as it's been. And yeah, check out the walkthrough over at Legendary Upside. Same deal. Cover the players that we haven't talked about. We also obviously haven't talked about the Monday night games and the London game. I'll be writing those up. Those will be out probably tomorrow morning.
God, I wish this Chiefs game was on this slate.
Dude, it really would change things because Mahomes I have quarterback 1 in the rankings this week. It's a pretty juicy setup. Just real quick, like the fact that we don't have Mahomes, Allen, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, yeah, like that really changes the DFS.
That's why I said, like, I would never really be into a large field slate with a guy like Sam Darnold, but it's a pocket passer slate. It's why May is like the most optimal play and why he'll be popular. But it is all pocket passers, man.
Yeah,
you got to find the dude that throws those 4 touchdowns this week.
Find the guy, and that's where stuff where like the Cam Ward thing like seems crazy, but like because they're pocket passers, it's gonna be harder to predict too. Like finding
I said it's gonna be touchdown. It's gonna be touchdown and bonus driven.
100%.
And the way I see that though, top down is like that means I don't want to pay for one of the guys. So like,
yeah.
So
Trevor Lawrence, I think is in play, as well. I don't know if we talked about him. That was like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember that far back. All right. Let's get out of here. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week to talk week 7, almost halfway through the season. We'll see you later.